Hey guys, welcome to episode 181 of 4PlayerAnimecast. We are finally getting into the fall 2021 season for reviews, and just in time, a very welcome person has returned to our midst. So I am, as usual, your host, Spire, coming here with you in the middle of October 16th, a couple of weeks to go until Halloween. Weather is getting pretty cold over here, but it is what it is. And with me are my compatriots, of course, Near,
Hello.
Dark,
Hi.
and last but definitely not least, Toast. Toast is
Konsui, I guess. Let's go with Konsui.
okay. All right, so everybody
You
is
get it?
here.
You get it?
No, I do not, unfortunately.
You know how everyone has that kon whatever greeting?
Oh yeah, no, and then like konban or like yeah. And then they like add it
Kon
to there,
kanata? Konrushi,
They
whatever.
add the name at the end, yeah. It's a classic one, yeah.
Today is Konsui, because I don't know why.
All right. Anyways, everybody's here with us. Let's get quickly into our past 2 weeks. Near, let's start off with you. Past 2 weeks, how have you been?
I haven't been doing too much.
Okay.
Playing a
Pretty
little bit of
quiet.
Shadowverse still.
Mhm. You
Um,
can't get away from that game,
no, not really.
huh?
Um, the anime expansion came out. Finally. Um,
And there was a new season announced, if I remember
yes,
correctly.
yes, there was a season 2 of the
Are the
Shadowverse
anime cards
anime
good?
announced. The anime cards are varying. And good. Um, I think so. People are, as usual, people are not very happy with the state of Shadowverse. Because the expansion came out, right,
Mhm.
and I think um I don't even think it's because of really any of the new cards, but like so Runecraft, the craft that everybody loves, with its oh so lovely mechanic of spell boost, um, is like one of the top dogs. I think the top dogs right now is like it's Runecraft, Bloodcraft, and Shadowcraft. I think.
Okay.
Um, and usually when Runecraft is on the top, there was like no fun to be had because Runecraft is always like it's completely out of hand damage. Like there's really nothing you can do to prevent it. And right now, like the main card that they're like shitting out is uh the Isabel card. So all the original leaders, like they got legendary cards a while back, and I guess now with the new expansion, Spell Boost got like the tools to enable it harder or whatever.
Mhm.
But what Isabel does is uh, you can like fuse cards into Isabel, and then she gives you a spell, a 1 play point spell, which I forget exactly what it does, but basically it's a 1 play point spell, and if you spell boost it enough times, it will deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. So it's like a 1 play point like board fucking clear. And if you spell boosted it enough times, it gives you a 5 play point spell, which I don't know. I don't remember if you need to spell boost that one as well or not. But either way, it's not hard to do. Um, and what that spell does is it deals 10 damage to the enemy leader, and it heals your leader for 10 health. So it's basically just a
Our
big fuck
classic.
you.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, it's very easy to get. It's very easy to just shit out because it's such a huge momentum shift. And
Mhm.
of course, it's spell boost, so they have all the control in the world and all of the like board swing in the world as
Mhm.
well. So
Okay.
always very uninteractive to play with.
Well, I mean, that's been a big part of
Yeah.
Shadowverse since
Um,
forever, so.
and then uh, fucking Bloodcraft is like super strong because like it's got all the healing in the world, and then Shadowcraft is strong because it's Shadowcraft. You know me, I play Shadowcraft, so I'm not like complaining super hard, because it's strong right now. But yeah, people aren't very happy.
Okay.
But other than that, I haven't really been doing too much. Just been keeping up with
Right.
gotcha shit,
Ah,
really.
yeah.
Um,
I've heard. So the interesting thing is, I was actually sorry for the slight tangent here from the talk, but I was actually talking with people who are like they get into they don't know anything about like Japanese gacha mobile games and stuff like that, right? Um,
Yeah, so the
but
entire
they
Genshin player base.
yeah, that's true. But they are like you know that FIFA mobile game that where you have to like buy the cards or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, FIFA Ultimate
so
Team.
all the FIFA
Yeah, the
games.
FIFA Ultimate Team or whatever it is. Yeah, yeah. All the FIFA games. That's also true. So they are addicts of that game, and they thought they were like they thought they were spending a lot of money on that game. Let's just say that, right? And then I told him some horror stories of like how deep the gotcha hole can go. And he was just
Yeah.
like, that can happen? I was like, my
Yeah,
friend,
I'm pretty sure
you think
Ultimate Team can go just as deep though. Like I heard
yeah,
some
it
shit of
can
like people spending like $1,000 and like not even
not
like
even blinking, yeah,
not getting anything like even remotely reasonable or like
pretty
decent,
much.
let alone
Yeah,
what
I
they
mean,
wanted. Like
the interesting thing is, it's like I feel like the the gotcha games over in the West don't have a lot of like safety nets as the Eastern gotcha games do. But it's
No.
also like they sort of pretend like it's not as gotcha focused and like gotchas don't have as much. Do you guys know what I mean?
Yeah. I
It's
well,
mean, the
yeah,
like
I mean, look at the
Western
fucking
game.
Overwatch loot boxes. Like,
yeah, exactly.
like
Yeah,
there's
Or
no,
even
Western
Dota.
there's
games will
no
like.
pity. You just have to pray to God you get enough dupes to buy what you want.
But it's always weird because it's like while the gotchas are almost harsher, right? Or sometimes objectively harsher, right? It's like they're just like, well, it's just you don't have to invest in it. It's not really like that big part of the game. You know what I mean? You're like, come on, guys. They kind of do that shit. You know what I mean? And while I think in Japan and China, like the mobile games that are coming out there, the, the message is implicitly kind of like, yeah, gotcha is pretty much the game, right? So that's why there are
Yeah.
these safety nets. So it's like in a very weird situation where people in the West are like, oh, gotcha, and gambling and letting kids use credit cards, blah, blah, blah. It's bad. So we have like, from the outside, we have this like very sensitive culture of like, oh, gotcha is bad. Don't do that shit, right? In the West, much more than maybe in the East. Although it's pretty strict outside in the East as well. But it's like if you think about it, Western gotcha games can really fuck you for even less than like
Yeah.
oftentimes what you
Well,
get.
yeah, because the Western games they try to hide the fact that there's like literal gambling in them.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
And they're like, it's not that much of a focus. Come on, guys. Right,
yeah. I mean, just look at like fucking the CS:GO shit, right?
right,
Like,
exactly.
oh, it's totally not gambling, guys. It's totally not gambling, guys. And meanwhile, there are literal fucking CS:GO gambling sites. Like,
Pretty much.
okay,
It's weird. But sorry if yeah, that was pretty much a tangent. Sorry. And so yeah, you said that was pretty much it for you, right, Near?
yeah.
And then moving on, I guess, Dark. What about you?
Um, not a ton. Kind of just kept up, checked out some new stuff, like finishing off whatever, just like whole last season. Gonna go
Mhm.
back and watch a couple other things still. Um, trying to think of what else. You know, got my fucking brain like blasted by Elon Musk being in Genshin. So that was something. That was an experience this week. That fucking tweet was like, I don't know, man. I didn't really know how to react. Like, I was laughing at like the simplest retorts to it because of how fucking stupid it was.
It was very embarrassing.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. And then I think really other than that, the only major thing was starting and getting through volumes 1 and 2 of Asuperu. No, what is it? Asupere Kanojo?
You can, it's either you can call it Asperger Kanojo, or you can just call it like Asperger girlfriend or whatever Asperger Kanojo or whatever it is. You can just,
Actually,
it's Esper.
I'll
It's
look up
Esper.
Esper. Dude, that was so fucking funny. I was hoping that was. I was really hoping that was gonna be like someone's fucking mistake. Like, where they're just like, well, "What the fuck? She doesn't have special powers at all. Like, where'd she get her powers?"
So,
Like, yeah,
just to
it's her
clarify,
fucking powers of having a
Yeah.
fucking panic attack.
Just to clarify what Dark and I are laughing over for the listeners. Essentially, we were reading both reading going through a manga called Asperu Kanojo. Asper girl. That's really good. Asper girl. That's really good. But yeah, Asperu Kanojo, which is obviously like the romanization. The first part is like a kind of Japanese form of saying um, autistic or Asperger's in this case, right? So Asperger's girlfriend or what Asperger's Kanojo or
Asperger's
whatever you
or
want.
Asperger or
Asperger's.
Asperger's? You're saying Asperger's. Asperger's.
Asperger's. Sorry.
Is it jurors?
Wait,
Like
is it supposed to be
Gerber? Is it?
jurors?
I
I didn't
don't
know
know
that.
Did you
actually.
say
yeah.
Gerber? Is it
Asperger's.
Gerber? Baby food?
What?
Is that what
Oh,
we're
no.
talking about?
Okay, let me.
It's
Yeah,
Asperger. It's
it's like
Asperger's.
GIF, dude.
It's a P, not a G. You've been saying G or B.
Oh, it is. It's a hard G. It's Asperger's.
Yeah.
You're not
Okay.
saying the P. You're saying a B. You're saying
Well,
Asperger's. It's Asperger's.
I
Say the
apologize.
P.
It's my accent. But anyways, that
Wow,
that
racist.
aside.
listen, it's the English language, all right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I
Asperger's, not Asperger's. You're
I
saying
apologize. I apologize for my immigrant accent. But
yeah.
that
What are
aside,
you? What are you?
yeah.
What
But
What,
was I
what
gonna
are you,
say?
fob?
Yeah, that's the English alternative title. That
Yeah.
shit fucking sucks. No, that's my atypical girl.
But yeah,
Like a
but
fucking
yeah,
like a sitcom.
yeah. Essentially, the way again the word is in Japanese is asuperu, and somebody thought asperu was esper for some reason in the comment section, and I was just like, what? Why would you? This entire series is literally describing an autistic person. You were like, is she an
Dude,
esper? Like,
I thought she
come
was
on,
gonna get
man.
special powers. What the fuck?
Like Dark
Oh,
Knight
she
is
was
just
like a
like
fucking alien with like with like psychic powers. I don't get it.
so stupid. And then I don't want to get too deep into this, but we were also kind of going over how you know how so much of the English speaking community, and for good reason, are like we should be tolerant towards people on the spectrum, right? Um, we should be accommodating people and understanding that they're not going to act the same way as us and so on, right? And literally, like the first two chapters, the girlfriend comes in, she acts all weird and awkward, and it's very realistic in the manga because I believe the author himself is also on the spectrum. I think he alludes to it in a couple of his afterwards. But in those first two chapters, all the comments are just like, "Ew, she's gross, so awkward, nasty." I'm just like, you guys, hold up, time out.
I
Like,
mean,
you
it's not
guys,
even just that. Some people are just like, why does she act like that?
yeah, I know. I was like,
what?
I was literally like holding, like putting my mouth, like hands in my mouth. I was like, "Are you serious? Like, is that your actual reaction?" Like, come on, guys.
Neurodivergent people don't exist, dude.
They're just
They
gross.
aren't.
Sorry.
Yeah, they aren't real.
Yeah.
They're yucky and
Yeah.
icky and gross.
I was like, come on, guys. We
Listen,
can't
maybe
be
the
doing
end
this.
of Volume 1 turned them around on it, and they were like, actually, maybe our protagonist is fucking grosser.
Yeah.
That rocked.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
fucking. That chapter was fucking hilarious.
That was a good turnaround. But anyways, anything else, Stark? Just catching up, reading Asperakano
Yeah,
Joe,
just
anything
catching up,
else?
reading that. Yeah, I'll probably wind up getting caught up on that tonight or something. And then,
Okay.
yeah, basically other than that, played through Metroid Dread like 3 times. Get this, on an emulator in 4K. Oh
That's
no.
illegal.
Yeah, as I stare down my sealed copy of it. But yeah, that game rocks. Maybe one day,
All right.
we'll get another one.
All right. And what about you, Toast?
When was the last podcast?
It was the last podcast you were in was last part of the summer season
Give me a date.
reviews. So that was just like beginning of September, I believe.
Jesus. All right.
Now,
So,
Mid-September.
Suisei's
September.
album's still stellar. It's pretty good.
Mhm.
Can
I
you
mean, Suisei
believe?
is a soul singer, so
Can you believe it's the first time Hololive has ever produced a CD in 4 years, 3 years, 4 years? No one else has ever had any CDs.
What?
it was
Wait,
it was,
what? They didn't release Blue Clapper on a CD?
A full CD, a full
Oh,
solo
it's like a
CD.
full track, like a full
They
album.
they usually
it's a full album. I
Oh,
they
think.
usually
okay.
just pump out singles. Like
Yeah.
they don't really
Oh right, yeah,
they
because
don't
they're
really
not
do
like actual
albums.
singers. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
actual singers. Yeah,
I can't believe Tokino Sora has never produced a full CD before, or neither did Azuki. Only Suisei.
Well, you know what they're not.
Or a small indie company.
Their jobs aren't full singers. So yeah, it is what it is.
I'm speaking towards the people who thought Suisei is the only singer in Hololive because
Oh wait, really?
guess again,
Is
Bucko.
that an actual thing?
Azuki's
Wait.
had like 5
Guess
albums already.
again,
No,
Buckaroo.
I
Hollow
meant
Stars are
no, I
here to
meant
stay.
I meant like, are there actually people who are like, oh, she's like the only singer? Like, are there
Yes.
actually?
There's people that think like
Damn.
Gura is the only VTuber. Like
Oh, that's true. I apologize.
I mean,
I kept being optimistic, and then like Toast and Nira just like stopped being optimistic. I was like, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, when you get down to it, Amelia Watson's the only VTuber.
did you know which one of you plays Paladins?
I hope none of us.
I played for 5 minutes and I hated it.
Dark, you gonna play Paladins again after November 10?
Why? What
Why?
the fuck are they doing?
You don't want the special limited edition Amelia Watson announcer?
Jesus fucking
Oh,
Christ.
announcer.
Announcer just gotta play 5 games and you'll get her. During the
I
next
think if I
update.
wanted any sort of VTuber announcer, I'd want like a pick of me with fucking obnoxious levels of reverb.
Speaking of VTubers, what else? Niji Sanji En Wave 3? Is it 3?
Yes,
3?
yes.
Etheria came out.
Did they?
I don't know.
I don't know what the schedule is over there.
I didn't see a single thing from them.
The only
Yeah, I
one I
haven't
like
seen
is Millie Parfait because she speaks Tagalog. And I'm like, oh, damn. I guess. She lives in a cardboard box. And I'm like, damn, that's relatable. And she says
Nice.
the underworld speaks Tagalog, and I'm like, damn, how'd you know? Uh, we haven't had a good Tagalog Filipino VTuber, big name in a while. So I'm glad we got a new one.
Well, if it's gonna be
What else?
you're talking about in Nijisanji Ian, right?
In general,
In general.
you,
Well, I mean, if she,
worldwide, she's now. Who else? We lost Lyrica,
well,
and we gained Millie. So we
what I
got
was
like,
saying,
yeah, boy.
what I was saying is, I'm just I don't know if I would call it a worry necessarily, but it's like what I would always say is like it's better for those people to be at least included with the main line, Nijisanji, or in the case of Hololive, the main line like JP Hololive and stuff like that, just because you know how it is. It's like you get more perks that way, so to say.
What do you mean
So,
those people?
those people, yeah. I apologize.
Well,
But
who
usually
else?
branches on, yeah.
That Fox lady, I think she's Russian. I don't know. She says honey a lot. I guess if that's your thing.
All right.
Yeah, that's
Like,
pretty
anything-
Russian.
You like
anything.
Yeah,
and
honey's pretty Russian.
you like
anything-
John
I've
you
seen
like
enough
Dobby
90 Day
Mommy
Fiance to know
Russian.
that.
It says. All right, let's see. What's the ghost girl's name? Reimu. She's Spanish.
Okay.
She sucks at Resident Evil, and you can tell she's a Zoomer
What about
because she played what RE1
Control?
remake. Oh, I didn't.
Oh, well, RE1 remake is like.
She played it with like the advanced controls, not the traditional
Yuck.
tank controls.
Ooh,
And she was all like,
that's
"Oh,
gonna be like
why
even worse.
the
Yeah,
camera
it is,
angles?"
because when the camera shifts,
yeah,
your fucking character like jitters around because you have to readjust the stick.
you can tell she's a Zoomer because she's impatient and can't handle puzzles and limited saves,
Yeah, just
limited
simple
ammo.
things.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, why are you so impatient? What are you, David Jaffe?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but David Jaffe's not a boomer, or not a Zoomer rather.
What else? But yeah, she's like, this isn't like Amnesia at all. I'm like, damn.
This is not Amnesia at all. Oh
She's like,
fuck,
I played Amnesia and that was so good. This one's so bad because
that hurts.
camera's jittery and
Yikes.
it takes so many bullets to kill zombies. And I'm like,
I'm
"Jeez."
like
And
literally
I want
grimacing
full,
right now.
and my
Yeah, I'm
inventory's
like
so full.
I'm like
I'm like,
actually fucking
ugh.
cringing.
That is the most Zoomer shit.
I don't think you could like look like if you could see
Ever
me right
seen.
now like on a cam, like I would be shaking my head right now. I'm legitimately like
But yeah, she played Amnesia a couple days later, and now she's gonna play. She can continue RE1 after a week, and I'm like, do I really want to watch you do that?
Yeah, when she gets to RE7 or RE8, you'd be like, oh, this is just like fucking Slender.
Why didn't the
9
first
pages.
games play like this? And I'm like,
Why weren't the first ones like this?
near. She picked up 3 green herbs and mixed them all together in the beginning of the game. Then she was like, I'm out of.
This
She was
is
like,
an RE6.
I'm running out of inventory. Like, should I just use my herbs to pick up the fake key? I'm like, oh, the fake key that you can't pick up unless you have the real key that you can't pick up unless you have the fake key because otherwise you die. I was
Yeah.
like,
If only there
oh.
was some kind of box where you could store things.
The worst part was she used another full heal right in the save room. She's like, guys, what item box are you talking about? And I'm like, ooh. You know the one under the stairs with the oil flask? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blind
That was
as
great.
fuck EN stream.
Yeah, she's a Zoomer. Well, whatever. Will I forgive her? No.
All right. Anything?
What about
anything else?
Crunchyroll, Hime? How do you feel about that?
Was she the one that speaks Mandarin?
I
There's
don't
no
know.
way.
Wait, is Crunchyroll Hime
probably.
fucking just busting
I
out
don't know.
Mandarin?
There's no way.
She
That would
doesn't
be
seem to
sick.
be. She doesn't seem to be
I
a
mean,
native English speaker, if you know what I'm saying.
She seems like they just picked her off the streets, to be honest.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Crunchyroll can't afford native English speakers, okay? Have you seen their
they can
subtitles?
barely. Yeah, they can barely afford to pay their own translators. Fuck this
Those
VTuber shit.
those aren't native English speakers.
Anyways,
Is
anything
she
else?
is she better or worse than the Netflix sheep?
Oh, that's
There's
a
a
good
Netflix
question. That's
sheep?
actually a good question.
I mean, the Netflix one had a better design, so I'd say the Netflix one's better.
Wait, does Hulu have one yet, or is it just gonna be Rick and Morty?
Please.
And then we gotta
Please.
get Disney Plus as well. Wait, easy. Disney Plus just use fucking LOP, dude. There you go. Reuse that design. Promote Star Wars Visions Season 2.
I'm just, you know how Discord already has like a bunch of memes and stuff like that? I mean, like their entire team is just like, and emails and whatever stuff they like, their PR is
Oh
all based
yeah, is
on
there a
memes.
fucking Wumpus L2D yet?
Yeah, so what
Probably.
I'm wondering is like, will Discord release their own VTuber, and then
Yes.
will they aim to be the most like meme-tastic of them all? Is that how it's gonna go?
No, she's gonna get
Yes.
outed as a pedophile.
Yeah.
And
Am
then
I
fucking
going to
banned.
am I going to literally have to, people longtime viewers of this podcast might know that I do like sub VTuber clips sometimes on and off, but or I'm
This
inactive
guy's
currently.
shilling. This guy is shilling his channel.
I apologize. That's not what I meant to do. This is not an advertisement. Don't go to my channel.
This guy
Do not go to
shills
my
his channel on
refuses
the
to shill
podcast.
this
What is it?
channel.
Do not go to my
You-
channel. I apologize. That's not what I meant. No.
YouTube.com/SpireRecord. Check out his
All right, do
Sanji
not go to my channel.
subs.
But yeah,
Where
Spire,
the
who's
what
your
I was
fuck?
going
favorite
to say,
VTuber?
what I was going to say is, so you know how obviously like if you click on like related like clips, like VTuber clips or whatever, you get obviously more of the similar kind, right? So am I going to be in a timeline where I'm going to have like on my YouTube recommended a clip of the Discord VTuber making fucking Leroy Jenkins references on my timeline? Is this what you're saying?
Oh, that would be so fucking good.
Yeah, I hope
if
so.
I do, I'm
Wait, no,
literally
they
like,
removed
just
that. They
jumping off
patched
this
those out.
balcony.
Let's be fair.
Yeah, they did.
Patch
but
those
they,
out.
What about the pylon one? What about the
yeah,
pylon one?
they patched them out for like really dumb shit, and I don't even know what they have now because I like
They probably have like the winner
like-
I
and
thought they
chicken dinner or
removed.
some
I thought they
bullshit.
removed all that shit, didn't they?
Did
Is
they?
there
I
still
don't even
lines
know.
there?
I forget because it used to be because originally it was like user submitted ones, right? And they were really fucking bad, right? Like you'd have fucking Leroy Jenkins and shit up there, and it's like, guys, I don't want to see this when I am
Yeah,
launching
and
this.
In their
Leroy
emails
Jenkins
still
don't
too. It's still in their
make us
emails.
lie.
Yeah, and then they patched out the user submitted ones, but then they replaced it with dumbass shit like recombobulating the compilers. It's like
No, that
shut
was
the fuck
already
up.
in there. They just kept them.
Yeah, it's like shut up. I don't want to see it. And I don't know what they have now because I don't even look at the fucking loading thing anymore.
It doesn't load
But, like,
that much. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. So they might have just patched out that like little thing, but it was really annoying and it was
Oh.
really obnoxious.
But yeah, if I'm in a timeline where I have to just if all the companies related to like anime stuff are going to have their VTubers and it's going to be a race to the bottom, and Discord is going to have their memes or whatever.
Isn't Discord one gonna be a furry one?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cub.
Wumpus.
It's gonna be a cub one. Wumpus gonna
Yeah,
be a cub.
they'll definitely be a disgusting degenerate furry.
Yeah.
Whether they'll be open about it.
Toast
is a
makes a very good
different
point. Yes. But anyways,
I mean, isn't the Discord icon some kind of weird furry now? I thought before it used to be an alien.
it's. I mean, their
it was
community
always
has
Wumpus.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always the Wumpus thing.
It was just unclear as to what exactly it was. I think.
You say
Yeah.
Wumpus. Is it like Wumpa fruit from
No,
Crash
Wumpus
Bandicoot?
is like
No.
this. He's like a
That's what I was
stupid
thinking.
blue fucking koala with a leaf on his head or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then that's
Yeah.
Wumpus, and that's in like the friends list and shit like that.
Oh,
the,
that
the
thing. Okay.
logo, I still don't know what it is. It's like a fucking. I
I'm
look
pretty
at it and I
sure-
see crab.
Isn't it like the frontal face for Wumpus?
I
No,
don't know. I thought it
no,
was
the
crab.
logo has nothing to do with Wumpus, which is very bizarre branding.
Wait, is this
I
supposed to be a
saw-
controller?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a controller. Like
Oh.
I feel like I
Fuck.
feel really fucking gay whenever I have to fucking like describe the fact that the Discord logo is indeed not Wampus. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be like a controller, and they like animate it to like sometimes have a face question mark. But yeah, it's not the mascot.
Well, I
So,
thought
you
it was just. I thought it was like every time you double click on Discord, you're booping Wumpus's snoot. You know.
Shut the fuck up.
I just all right. Anyways, Toast. Anything else these past couple weeks?
Watame CD, pretty good. Good for
Okay.
her. She's
All
now
right.
part of the elite group of Hololive members who have a CD.
Okay.
Or have enough songs for a CD.
All right. As for me, these past 2 weeks, they haven't been up to too much. I've been a little bit busy with real life stuff in the past week, running around a lot, also trying to get a new car, and then what else is there? Oh, I've been reading, again, part of this is the Aspect of Kanajo stuff, but I've also been reading a couple of other series and obviously going around snooping around Shosetsu. I mean, Shosetsu is still a fucking cesspool. It's like sometimes it's just like worse than fucking fanfic.net or whatever I remember of fanfic.net because it's like how do I describe
Yeah, right. It's
this?
Spire trying to cover his tracks, like he doesn't browse fanfiction.net every day.
Yeah, that's true. With fanfiction.net, like at least from what I remember, right? It's like a lot of it's essentially like Twilight, right? I haven't read Twilight, so I don't know why I'm even
I
comparing
don't
it
know.
like
It's
that.
been a
So
couple.
Worse,
It's
is it?
been a
dude.
couple of years since we've gone through it, but it
Yeah,
it
it's
was a
like
majority Percy Jackson the last
Yeah,
time.
it was
Percy
like
Jackson and the
Percy
Olympians. Yeah,
Yeah, it
Jackson
was like Percy
cross like
Jackson cross everything.
yeah,
yeah.
cross like Percy Jackson
Pretty sure
cross
there
like
was
Cross
like
Samus.
Percy,
James or
Percy
whatever.
Jackson cross Railgun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cross Ridley, and you're like, what? Um, so that's a lot of it's kind of like OCing yourself into those worlds, right? Those cool quote unquote worlds, and just being like,
What about the Sora Smash fictions? Fan
like
fictions.
Those are
it's
real.
not fiction anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's not
real
fiction
now.
anymore.
That's reality, buddy.
Uh, but in
Ha-
but yeah, in Shosetsu, it's like they're making their own worlds. So oftentimes, not only is that shitty, and not only is the pacing bad, but a lot of times it's just like they try to attract stuff in via like romance or like smut or whatever, especially like the lesser known ones and the ones that are trying to attract via like rom com or smut or whatever. It's just like oh, I can't even describe it. Like every page is just like the girl stands in front of him and then some sort of like Tolovru style accident happens or um girl keeps catching him in the middle of him jacking off or whatever it is. It's just like oh I want to oh Jesus Christ, why did I even start reading this in the first place? It's like I don't know, man. It shows us it's such fucking crap. And the fact that it's made an entire industry, it's just like God, why? But anyways, on that, I haven't been up to too much. Kind of reading stuff, most of real life, running
Speaking of
around.
real, how's your house, Spire?
My house.
How's your house? I googled that there has been a tornado in your vicinity recently.
I haven't. If there has been a tornado pretty close to me, I haven't apparently witnessed it. But thank you for looking up for me. But
I Google
yeah,
searched your house, your address, and
I have
went
not
to Street
been
View and
aware
saw that
of.
it could use
Yeah, I know.
proof.
Yeah, I have not been aware of any real destruction to my house recently. So, but again,
Check
thank you
again.
for yeah checking.
again.
But thank you for looking out for me. Anyways, we should. I don't know why we went on so many tangents. Why did this intro take an hour? Jesus, or 34 minutes. Anyways, moving straight on
That's on the shorter end,
our,
to be fair.
with our reviews. Dark.
We forgot to talk about David Jaffe. That's why.
I'll get to that.
Please, let's
Don't
please
worry.
keep the shout outs to Callouts short for this podcast. But anyways,
Yeah, so
Dark, what do you
what
have
I
for us?
have is, here's throwing a real curveball this time. And I'm doing the gay series now.
Look at me. I am the gay
I am
series.
the captain.
Is it men or women?
It's men, of course.
Man, it's
I
raining
had
men.
to take it from Spire.
Yeah.
I DM'd Spire. He was really broken up. But
Yeah.
eventually, he relented. And I was like, listen, let me just get through this one. It's not very good anyway.
Can you guys look at the names for like the opening and ED for this? And can you guys tell me why both of them have like the symbol like in between their names? Is this just like what's wrong with these bands? Can we stop doing this? Look at
I don't
this.
know, dude.
You see these bands names, right?
What is OZ? Like it's O star Z. How do you even
Oz, I
say
guess
that?
Oz.
Is it Oz?
Oh, sorry, yeah. And then it's like Lost Eden, but with the cross. Like, can we
Or is
stop
it
doing
O
this?
stars?
Oh, stars, yeah. Anyways, this is you're covering Visual Prison. I believe it is an A1 Pictures special, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be it's gonna be great. It is a Fujoshi series, like just all the gay thin, males running around
and it
being
fucking
all
fails at
vampires and stuff like that. Do you want me to read out the description real quick?
that. Read the
Anji
synopsis.
Yuki. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so Anji Yuki, a boy who wrestles with deep-seated loneliness and can't fit in. Nobody
Is this
call
Junior?
family. He leaves his hometown, longing to see an artist he admires. He heads for Harajuku, where he encounters a live battle between Visual K units Eclipse and Lost Eden. Overwhelmed by the energetic performance, he is suddenly struck by an intense pain.
Damn.
By the way, Visual K is just like a general kind of like fashion style more than anything else. It's just kind of like it's supposed to be a little bit more like flash. Like the idea is generally supposed to be flashy, but in practice, it usually kind of just gets rolled up with like kind of like gothic kind of
Isn't
stuff.
Gact Visual K?
Is it? I wouldn't.
Final Fantasy Gact Edition. That's all Visual K, right?
Probably describe
But
it
yeah.
as that.
But yeah, most of the times it kind of gets rolled up into like goth kind of stuff. But anyways, sorry, I'll go on.
Well, FF15 is the last Visual K Final Fantasy, right? Because the new one, that's not Visual K. That's Chaos.
I mean, FF15 is a bit more subdued Visual K, but yeah.
I mean, depending on. Oh wait, you mean Origin? Origin
Yeah,
might be
Origin.
Visual K, depending on what you wear. Depending on who shows up, dude. Who the fuck knows anymore? Like
there
we
needs
might
to be
get
there
some
needs to
weird
be
shit.
there needs to be somebody with like really spiky hair, because right now there's only the one dude, right?
Yeah, that like
what is it?
Third character, the
What is it?
redhead.
Limp Bizkit? Is Limp Bizkit Visual K?
No,
it's also not Limp Bizkit, by the way. It's not real.
Which
Limp
one is it?
Bizkit. No, it's not real. It's original music.
Yeah, it's an original.
Okay.
Like
It's very much in the style of Limp Bizkit, though.
Anyways,
which also, Final Fantasy's had fucking new metal in it. Why not the little? Limp Bizkit too?
that what is it? That one Chocobo
FF10.
song? Sure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also FF10's intro is fucking new metal.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anywho, so a couple things about this series. First of all, it's not very good. Second of all, the music is not very good for a series that's supposed to be about music. You would think it would be.
It's very standard.
Yeah,
it's extremely
It's
standard, and then the lyrics are really bad.
Unbelievably boring with fucking terrible lyrics.
The lyrics are so bad.
Yeah, it's like,
it's like if you just had a bingo with like blood, cross, and like red moon,
yeah,
like
red
just
blood,
life, resurrection. Like you just get bingos every day, just like
Yeah,
all the days of the week.
literally just like set up a fucking like dartboard with like vampire words on it, like
Or emo goth,
vocabulary.
emo goth
Yeah,
stuff.
goth
Yeah.
vocabulary. Fucking just throw darts at it. You have your entire song.
This sounds fucking epic. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I know. It sounds exactly like my childhood. Come on,
The
Dory.
OP
Yeah,
and ED, the OP and EDs are like 10 times better than any of the other songs they've used in the show, which is saying a lot because those are already not very good either.
You know, you know what's kind of weird to me? Like, obviously, I skimmed through it and I saw a little bit of the whole like, oh, we're the vampires and we're gonna compete by singing or doing whatever the fuck, right? But I feel like this honestly would have been a cooler series if they were legitimately just like
Yeah, if they were
pretending and it
vampires and
was
they like fucked, like that would probably
yeah,
be
if they
way
fuck,
more-
yeah,
that'd
if they
be
fuck
really
each
that would
other,
probably be
yeah,
That'd be really
way
cool.
cooler
if they
series.
if
They
they
just
if they
started
just
making out a
break each
bunch,
other's,
like
yeah,
that.
exactly, just bit
Which,
each other.
by the way, as much of a joke as that is, that would be cooler than what is actually happening
Yeah.
on screen.
Well,
So,
yeah. What I
be
was
more
saying was
compelling.
that what I was saying was that if it was a story about like the guy going into Harajuku, like seeing these bands, seeing the visual case stuff, kind of getting used to that culture and maybe appreciating the music or whatever it is, and it was like more focused on that sort of stuff, right? Instead of like this weird, we're gonna sing under the bloody moon, like with the vampire, whatever the fuck they're talking about in this
Yeah,
series, right?
so
I
we're
think it
gonna
would have been
get
like 10 times cooler.
we're gonna get
Like,
into like okay. So first, let's start with a couple of things, right? The splits between the bands is just like not good. His band is the most boring one. The two guys that pretend to be angels are also boring and lame. The
are there any
other
exciting
one,
ones?
yeah, I mean the other one that's like actually like yeah, we're fucking vampires and yeah, and we're cool.
Oh, do you know what the split
Those are the
reminds me
better
of?
ones.
Oh
Huh?
fuck! Do you know what I was looking at the picture that you put on stream. Do you know what this reminds me of? Like the divisions and stuff like that. It reminds me of the K project. With the kings and like the blue factions and the red factions and like the white
Oh,
faction. You guys remember that, right? Nier, you remember that, right?
How could I forget?
Yeah. Like, God damn it! Is this shit all over again? God damn it! All right. Anyways,
yeah.
go on.
So I mean, and that band, the third band, has the benefit of having, Takia Eguchi is like big guy, and fucking, Shogo Yano as Shota. So, like, they've got the the more dynamic fucking team to begin with. It's really weird, right? Because you're like, yeah, Fujo series. So, but they split up the bands, but then it's like there's only one band that has like like a wider spectrum of character archetypes then. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the two guys, they're just the same fucking character essentially. Um, but like
Yeah,
story
but
wise,
that's definitely a fetish.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, as far as a band series goes, like the fact that they're battling bands, it's like
Yeah, that's not what this is though,
whatever. Yeah, but it
and you know
splits them
that.
up though. So it's like I feel like there's not like in the first two episodes there hasn't been that much interaction with like the wider cast at all. It's kind of been the main character that like bumps into like I think two members from the Cooler band. I say cooler in like respect to the others, by the way. 'Cause none of them are that cool. But so like there's not enough like so far like there's not enough crossover for that to fucking matter. There's definitely like trying to think of like what else. And it's like the music isn't that good and there's always like one or two tracks like per episode it seems now. And it's like we said, it's pretty standard with not very good lyrics. There's nothing that like visually compelling during them. The closest thing I had was the first episode was like a recorded, like session for Lost Eden or whatever. And they had like a fucking VHS. That was the other thing too. They had like a CRT filter over it, but the character was listening to it on his like iPhone. So I'm like, what?
It's
Like,
called
was,
HD, dude.
was this supposed to be like something that was recorded like 20 years ago? Because that would have been kind of cool. But so far they haven't gone with that either. I thought it would have been a lot neater if this was like a band that was like somehow around, for fucking like 30 years, and people are like, "No, it's so crazy. These guys still look so young and they still got it." Or like they were an evolving band, to actually play into the vampire aspect, but no, not really. That doesn't really happen. It's just kind of like the way they present themselves as a band, and like thematically. So, like Spire said, with them playing under the Blood Moon, series fucking starts with those two guys that are like pretending to be angels jumping out of a fucking no, it doesn't start like this, but when the main character like runs into them at towards like the middle/end of the first episode, they fucking jump out of a helicopter, sprout wings, like do a fucking like hex on the moon, and it turns into a fucking blood moon. And a crowd is
That's
just like, yeah,
just like me.
I fucking love this band. And then in episode 2, one of the dudes is like, you almost revealed that you were a vampire, Angie. Okay? You can't do that. Like, you can't let humans know that we're vampires. I'm like, these dudes jumped out of a helicopter, flew through the air, and had a band battle in midair.
That's
For like
that's
10
where else would
minutes.
you do a band battle?
But
dude?
then in episode 2, he's
On
like,
the ground?
in episode 2, he's like, yeah, you can't reveal that you're a vampire, dude. You can't reveal our existence to humans. It's like,
You just hexed the moon. You literally...
yeah, you shot a fucking laser beam at the moon, turned it red, and flew through the air for 10 minutes.
It's called special effects, dude. Have you not seen
Yeah,
those like
yeah,
hologram
great-
concerts?
Yeah, great hologram concert. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like, okay, great. I mean, another thing is they're playing fast and loose with vampire shit, which I dislike greatly. Episode 2, main character is like, oh, Eve, are you a vampire? And Eve fucking holds up his hand. This character holds up his hand, and it turns into smoke, and then he turns it back, and then they move on, and I'm like, you didn't say if you're a vampire. You could be like, what the fuck are you? Like, that doesn't mean you're a vampire. Like, since when? Like,
It means he's a
vampires
ghost.
vampires don't turn parts of their bodies into fucking smoke at will.
Yeah, they do.
have,
They
like,
can
Yeah,
turn
they
to.
do.
Yeah,
No,
they
can
can.
turn into mist and smoke, but not like fucking like their arm. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna turn my
Smoke
arm
bender?
into fucking like
Maybe
black smoke. And
the
usually
more
it's a
powerful
cold
ones
mist.
can change their form.
Okay. Usually a cold mist. Right?
They're smoke
Fucking
benders.
black
Yeah,
cloud.
well, you know what? Cope and
Not the
seeds.
fucking
So
wasp
Yeah.
monster, okay?
Maybe they're advanced vampires.
Yeah.
They're like different levels.
You know what
Shadow
always bothered me?
vampires.
Why can vampires turn into wolves, but lichens can't?
um
They
Wait, why
turn into wolves.
can't vampires turn into wolves?
No,
But
vampires can turn into wolves, but lichens can't. They just turn into wolf men. What's
I
up with
think,
that?
can't some lichens turn into like full wolves?
That's
Isn't that a
wolf's
thing
rain.
in
That's
something?
weird.
yeah.
Like sometimes they can, and not just in Twilight.
If vampires and werewolves are mortal enemies, why can the vampires turn into wolves? That's weird, isn't it?
Because vampires are fucking cool and awesome and epic and super strong.
So are
Obviously.
lichens, dude. Look.
No.
Let's get serious about lichens. Anyway, so
We had fucking what was
oh
it?
yeah, there was that one with that main character who was like a lycanthrope, right?
Sirius?
Serious?
Sirius,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sirius the Jaeger. Yeah,
Yeah.
that had lichens in it. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure the main
Yeah, that
character
show
was a
kinda-
lichen.
Yeah, that show kind of sucked.
But yeah,
Why
so
can't the Twilight vampires turn into wolves?
All right,
this
let's
this
get back
one,
to this.
well, because they can just like run real fast, and that'd be cheating. So this series is not just like it's not very good. Like they can walk around in sunlight for whatever fucking reason, and they don't.
Called
I didn't realize they
sunscreen.
explain. Yeah,
Sunscreen, yeah.
I didn't see them explain
dude.
that, but then it's like one of the characters can't walk in through a door, and like
'Cause
the
you have to
Shota
invite them in.
character, yeah, the Shota character is like, oh, how fucking like old are you? Like what?
What?
What is this? Like
What?
you suck. Like you're a real shitty vampire. Like come in, and then like a barrier dissipates. It's like, what are you fucking stupid? You don't realize you have to be invited in.
What is this?
But so it's like you're doing that, but then it's like you don't even fucking like you don't die in sunlight. So like you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna have like trivia with like steaks and silver and stuff like that, and like fucking
Did they go through garlic yet? What's happening there?
yeah. So yeah, like I mean, basically like that character just teases him with like all weaponry to kill a vampire. But I guess it doesn't affect him because he's like a higher level vampire or something. But
Yeah, level
Yeah,
2 vamp.
he's a
It's
level
like
50
what?
vampire.
Yeah, level
Yeah.
50 vamp.
yeah, he's 99 vampirism.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Anything
it's
else?
just like that. I mean, and so it's like it fails at that. I'm pretty sure one of the other vampires, like the tall one, drinks like the Shota's blood, and
Okay.
I'm just like,
Wait,
both
drinking each other's blood?
vampires.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
like
Drinking each other's blood?
so which is this? Is this your
It's
own
for
made up
fun.
vampire shit, or it's like this? And then so like he also sees him by like pricking his finger, and then the main character freaks out, wall slams him, and is about to bite him before he gets knocked out. But like, I'm like, well, why? I thought you weren't supposed to feed on each other. Like, isn't that a thing? Like, aren't vampires not supposed to feed on each other?
Well, vampires are supposed to feed on humans. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
Or like
and so
anything
that
that's
was what I was like,
non-vampire.
Usually-
they're like, here's the rules, man. Never feed on humans. I'm like, so then what do you? What? like, what the fuck do you drink?
Usually, especially because the original lore, I believe, right, like way back, was vampires are actually part of the undead, if I remember correctly, right? So the whole
Yeah.
like blood thing doesn't really work with them. If you're trying to suck the vampire's
you're
blood, you're like,
drinking.
okay.
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
drinking like
most-
cold dead blood.
Most modern vampire stories will usually like
Have them as like actual monster types, but it's different.
yeah,
in the
and they'll
original lore, yeah.
usually write in the fact that vampires can't drink other vampires' blood
Yeah,
by
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
either making it so like it makes them sick or it like turns them like feral or something. You know,
Yeah.
it does
Or
something
it just doesn't
bad.
work. Yeah.
Like they can't like you know you
Yeah.
can't really have like a vampire or like vampire versus human conflict story when all the vampires are just feeding
If all the
off each other,
vampires are just
you know,
feeding
like-
off each other, yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, my turn.
because then like the
'Cause then what's the
vampire
point? They can just feed
vampire
on
like
themselves.
yeah the
They have
vampire
endless life.
society quote unquote is like it's like self-sustaining, you know, like
Yeah.
there is no conflict at that point unless the vampires just want to expand, but then it's like
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
The
Which
thing,
a
the thing,
neater, a cooler idea for this series, right, would have been play into the idea that vampires are like, you know, the ultimate seducers, and like this is their method, and they take like smaller amounts of blood somehow, or like essence, like from the crowds they draw, right? And so like the best band that draws the
Yeah.
biggest crowd gets essentially the most sustenance. Like that would have been a far
then-
cooler gimmick for this.
But then how are the characters going to have gay sex with each other?
I mean, they're
And
already
also Hex
not
the
doing
Moon.
enough to begin with, for one.
Yeah.
Two, we can figure that out. I'm sure we can figure that.
I'm sure we can fit gay
I'm
sex
sure we
in
can
there
find a
somewhere.
way to do
Just
that.
stuff that in somewhere. But
Yeah, we can fit
the
that
thing-
in anyway.
Yeah, my sort of, I don't know if I'd say contribution to what Nier just explained, which pretty much everything he got correct. But it's also that like recently, especially in like Japanese like anime stuff, right? Vampires are kind of slowly not becoming. I feel like it's okay to just have vampires just be kind of like bloodsuckers and just have kind of like how that sort of stuff works in Demi-chan, right? The Demi-chan Kataritai, right? Demi-chan
Yeah.
got Kataritai, like Demi-chan interviews with Demi-chan or Demi-humans or whatever it is, right? Um, I feel like it would have been okay if it was just kind of regular blood sucking and then some, lore stuff here and there. But nowadays with vampires in Japanese anime, it's always like they're not even vampires; they're just becoming bloodbenders that like also have fangs
Yeah.
and kind of bites. You know what I mean?
Which-
It's
Well,
very.
To be fair, bloodbending is fucking cool,
That's true.
but also like I don't know. I feel like yeah, Japanese vampires or Eastern vampires or whatever, they're not really vampiric. They're kind of just like people with like blood magic, you know. Like not very many vampires in anime these days like drink blood or prey on humans
Yeah.
or like are part of like, like actual secretive societies, stuff like that. Whereas a lot of Western vampire stories in recent years, although I guess this example is not necessarily as recent, but you have stuff like, 30 Days of Night, where
Mm,
vampires are literally just like fucking monsters, right? That
right.
will like literally rip through human beings for food.
Right.
Um, I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic, but I do feel like the Japanese side of things is kind of uh lost the plot with the original vampire lore.
They could be a little bit like it's they're using vampire as an excuse for the monster to have a flaw. You know what I mean? Because vampire, what they're saying is the vampire is the whole like vampire does A, it allows them to justify characters having supernatural powers, especially related to blood, right?
Yeah.
And then B, it justifies that power even more so because then they're like, hey, they're vampires. They have weaknesses because they're vampires, right? And that's all really vampires are used for. And then they just kind of stretch that out. They kind of like almost like pizza dough. They keep kind of kneading and stretching that to the limits, and it becomes like this vampire, if he's active and energetic and strong, he can crush entire buildings with his hands and shoot lasers and teleport and warp to any timeline and be right behind
Yeah.
you, nothing, blah blah blah. But he's weak to the sun. You know what I mean? It's very like,
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
it really all kind of balances out, you know?
Yeah, he can kill you instantly, but sun.
He can literally end the entire like he can destroy reality with the blink of an eye, but like
Yeah.
the sun irritates his skin, so
Yeah. It's like Tsukihime Redux essentially.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
Anyway.
what's the connection
Quick,
with
quick.
Dracula and dragons? What's that all about?
No,
Anyone
Dracul,
know?
man. Dracul.
Yeah.
Dracul means dragon.
Yeah,
Like
but other than
Yakult.
that, what's
Like,
the connection?
yeah,
There's no
Yakult.
other connection other than Dracul. Like that's it. It's not like Dracula was also like at one point a descendant of a dragon or something.
But Dracula means
Probably not.
son of Dracul, and
Uh.
Dracul
Oh,
is
okay.
dragon.
So,
So,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe whatever.
I'm
We'll
sure
make
I'm
new
sure there's
lore with
something
that.
in the original story.
But
Anyways,
yeah,
anything
so yeah, I mean, like that's the problem. Like, this series doesn't have enough vampire stuff, and it doesn't have enough gay stuff. So no one
yeah,
wins.
the second part is the bigger problem.
Or no,
I
and it
think.
doesn't have, and the music sucks. So it's like, well, what the fuck? Like this isn't
but
fun at all.
Dark, you have to remember, vampires aren't gay; they're bi.
Well, either way.
They'll suck on anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyways.
fine, but
Okay.
whatever. The only two good scenes in the show is when the one dude bit the other, and then the fucking wall slam, and that was it.
You're gonna
That
see
was
plenty of that in
one in each-
Irina,
one in each
anyways.
I can just fucking watch I'll go back and watch Vanitas. Like,
I just watched gay porn. What the hell?
wait a minute, yeah. Go watch
gay
Best of
vampire
Billy.
cosplay
Like, what
porn.
the
Yeah,
fuck?
exactly.
Like, but yeah, so it's just like it sucks. Like I would say it's unfortunate, but it's like kind of expected at this point. For this type of series, like yeah, just go watch Vanitas because you'd get a way better time with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't think there's any like really gay stuff in Vanitas like we had with that discussion. It's more of like Fujo for very strong, like the Fujo like sake.
Yeah.
From
It's
that
all the
perspective.
cool. It's all the cool vampires doing cool stuff. Is more like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they have very minor, like at least in what I had watched for the first half, like they don't have like too much of that. They have more of like, buddy like stuff
Right.
of like a Bone series between like the boys, but then they have very aggressive like fucking like dominating scenes essentially. So like yeah, that's we know exactly who that's for.
Yeah, Yuki
But yeah.
Kajiura.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. One person that
But yeah,
pays
so
all the
like,
money. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so like go watch that series instead if you're gonna watch something like that. Fucking I don't know, I'm trying to think of what else. Go watch oh my god, why can't I think of it? The fucking other series from Bones with vampires.
Vampire Night?
No,
that?
Blood Blockade.
Oh,
Ew.
Blood Blockade Battlefront or whatever
Yeah,
it
go
was
watch
called.
that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but the vampires are bad guys in that one. So
Yeah, and the vampires are clearly much hotter in this one, so
yeah, true.
You got to give it
And
up.
gayer.
Yeah, and gayer. That is,
I mean that's
they
true. But if you're looking
they're
for that, just
hexing
go
the
watch
sun.
Vanitas. You might get a little bit some of that. I'm sure there's going to be another one at some point that's better. Or there's probably
Bro,
something else out there. Also, if you
they're
want to have a
hexing the
better
moon
role,
to be gay.
yeah, if
They're
you want to have
hexing
a
the moon
better
to be
role for Shogo Yano, go watch Pretty Boy Detective Agency, or Pretty Boy Detective Club, rather. Go watch
Oh
that.
that's an
Go
actual
watch that.
recommendation. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
way better, and his character's way better too in that.
Yeah. Anyway,
And they're fucking
yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's what I mean. His character's way better. But yeah, there's a lot of other series you could watch that would do way better than this for it. It's a shame too, because if they really nailed the niche, it would have been good, but they didn't. So, they could have had three very distinct like bands putting out very distinct music with like gothic themes or something, but they decided to not do that, and instead they kind of all put out random like fucking J-rock and J-pop shit, and it has bad lyrics. So
it's essentially like the kind of cheesy, like almost idolish, like rock idolish or metal idolish stuff that you would hear for like female metal like rock bands over in Japan, but with guys. That's essentially it.
yeah, and just again with bad vampire lyrics. So
Pretty much.
you can't even really fully enjoy the songs because you're like,
I saw the
sucks.
lyrics like my life is crucified at the cross or some bullshit like that. I was like,
That's so
yeah.
fucking relatable, dude.
that's so relatable. Yeah.
Oh
True.
yeah.
All right. Anything else, Dirk?
No.
Who's
There's
your
plenty of other
favorite?
gay series? Who's my favorite? What
Who's your favorite vampire
in general
in the series?
in this series? I'm not
Choose
at liberty
one.
to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yikes.
Is it
Well,
is it the Shoto one? You can say that.
I'm not at liberty to confirm nor deny that. He
All right,
definitely
well-
also was not the one that had the best scene so far.
All right. Well, let's leave it a mystery for now. And thank you, Dark, for helping to cover Visual Prison. Again, it is I believe, one of the A1 Pictures. I hope it's not the only one for sure. It's one of the A1 Pictures show for this season.
Oh yeah, audio
And-
visuals aren't too hot either, so it's like kind of
It
weird.
wasn't very
Because
impressive.
A1 at least usually puts out way better stuff than that. It's like, what the hell else
A1
do they
is
have this
doing
season?
this Sword Art movie and
Mm.
86 season 2.
86 was apparently pretty popular. So yeah, it's probably 86 and
Yeah,
Sword
so
Art
they
Online.
sent this out to
got all the money.
they sent this
Yeah,
out
exactly.
to fucking die.
Yeah,
All
pretty
right.
much. It's like what they're just pushing the kid, like the one like shy kid, out onto like the stage. It's like you got to perform, man.
Yeah, you gotta buy time.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, thank you, Dark. And moving on, we are going to have Toast. What do you have for us today?
I don't know. I don't know the rules of the game.
Well, would you like to tell us the actual series before?
I watched. What the hell is it called? Gundam Build Divers?
No, Build
Build-
Divide
build-
Code
I
Black.
almost
Common
wrote Build Divers.
Kamen Rider Build. Speaking of Kamen Rider Build, that's on the.
Yeah,
what,
that's what I always kept thinking it was actually for a while. But yeah,
they,
it
they,
is.
they released the first episode of Kamen Rider Build on that one YouTube channel. I forgot what it's called. Tokusatsu World, something like that.
Tokusatsu Nation.
Yeah, check it out. It's cool.
Okay, so this is Build Divide Code Black. I believe it is.
Why is it called Code Black?
Actually, Spire,
Yeah.
it's Build Divide #0000 dash Code Black.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
favorite web color, guys. And this is.
Oh no,
this
that is a hex
Oh,
color,
you're
isn't
right.
it?
That's
Yes.
why it's
Oh,
called
no.
Code
It's
Black.
yeah, that's why it's
the hex
called
code.
guys.
Oh no.
Guys,
Damn, that's
Damn.
deeper than I thought.
you guys are
Alright.
fucking geniuses.
Anyways,
What-
this is.
what's-
Can
what's-
I go on? All right, let me
know-
just quick.
My hex color is a 420000. That's a specific red that I like. What's your guys' hex color?
Yeah, nice
I'm-
420 hex color.
Can we
button.
not?
Yeah, it is.
Fucking
Can we not go into the web
69,
colors
69,
obsession?
69, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh
what's
my
your
God.
favorite hex color? It's fucking
God
like
damn.
new fucking.
That's what the characters ask in this show.
Is this like the new like
Yeah, it's fucking,
are you a
like,
Sagittarius?
multi-class.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a Lightem Films series. This is apparently
What the fuck is
original.
Light in Films?
Lightem Films did they've done a lot of like more rom-com stuff before. Koito
Oh
Uso,
no.
Yamada-kun to Nannin no Majo, 7人の魔女, Rokude Nashi Majutsu Koshi to Akashi Records, Tokyo Revengers.
Oh yeah.
What is this? Tejina Senpai, Kishiku Gakkou no Juliet. Oh, they did Terraformers. I forgot. Fuck. Oh, right. More recently, they did Hataraku Cyborg Black. Right. Black. Right. Yes. Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff, but they're pretty decent series or pretty decent studios. Excuse me. This is, I believe, as you said, a card game, like part of a multimedia project.
Yeah.
Anime original along with the card game itself, I believe, and it'll probably
The
there'll probably be
card
other
game,
stuff.
the first booster pack was
I think
released on
yeah.
October 8th.
It's a physical card game too. It's not
Oh,
like
it's
it's not like a digital thing. I think.
So, yeah, you like. Which one of you's played Vanguard? I don't play Vanguard. I have zero. interest in it.
Vanguard.
Vanguard.
The hell's
Oh
Vanguard?
yeah, Vanguard.
Oh, card
Card
fight.
fight, yeah,
Card fight Vanguard,
None of us
yeah.
played
Not
it.
played that.
No.
Do you know the
Never.
rules to it?
Absolutely not.
What
It's not just
about
Yu-Gi-Oh.
MTG?
I
Oh,
mean,
by Yu-Gi-Oh.
most card games come from the MTG format or are like
Yeah,
in-store
yeah.
RPGs. So,
There's
yes.
no other MTG that copies Yu-Gi-Oh other than Yu-Gi-Oh. Like everyone else has the whole.
TCG.
Oh,
TCG.
sure. Yeah. Okay. yeah.
Well, MTG's Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, no other. Everyone else is like, oh, I have to pay this mana cost, and I have to tap my land card or whatever. And I'm like, that's literally all they take from MTG.
Yeah.
No one else has the cool life point counter like a Yu-Gi-Oh. They'll
Yu-Gi-Oh is
have
relatively.
trigger burst card, life cards, and I'm like, even the Pokemon TCG has that. Got your shield bench Pokemon cards, whatever. Yeah. So what's the story? Yeah. So you like 5Ds. I like 5Ds.
Yeah.
You like Vrains. I don't care for Vrains that
No.
much. Okay. So it takes place in a place called Neo Kyoto. All right.
Okay.
In Neo Kyoto, card game called Build Dive. Yeah, Build Divide. Build Divide is everything. It determines your worth in this city. If you're cool, if you're a cool top player of Build Divide, you can live in like the cool high-rise apartments. But if you don't, you suck. You live
So
in the
it's social
slums.
credit.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
just like Neo Domino City, where you're either a tops or you're yeah, tops. I forgot. You live in the slums. What do you in the satellite? Yeah, the satellite. Because that's the slums. So if you suck at the card game, you die. Because there's no you'll die of starvation or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a 5Ds. That's cool. But they have what do they have? But they have a augmented reality like lenses or whatnot. So I'm like, wait a minute, this is brains. So the guy use that augmented reality tech.
Uh-huh.
That's not beside the point. The whole point is they're at the center of the city. There's the king, who I assume is like the greatest Build Divide player of all time. And if you defeat the king, you can have
I
one
mean,
wish
it's
granted.
it's it's just like the Tower of God premise, but then it's with card game. Right?
No,
You
it's
just
Battle
beat
City,
them.
boy. It's Battle City.
Yeah, it's basically
Battle
Battle
Sea.
City.
Okay, yeah, I
So
apologize.
And fucking Kaiba's at the top.
Okay, okay.
how could Kaiba be at the top if he had to participate in his own card game?
Well, he's
Yeah.
at the top, but he wants to prove to everyone else that
But yeah.
he's just that good.
So well, you got challengers, and what you got to do is you got to collect star chips, aka casino coins, in order to in order to get the right to challenge the king. So when you find another challenger, you wager your locator card slash star chips in a duel. Winner take
Mhm.
all. Winner takes your bet and whatever. That's basically the premise of the series. But let's move on to the characters. The main character. What the heck was his name again? It was something stupid and not
Yugi.
very. It was something even worse that I can't remember because at least
It's Teruto Kurabe.
yeah, I'm not gonna remember that.
Yeah.
Kurabe like
Teruto
Kuro,
Kurabe, yeah.
black. Get it? Because he likes wearing black. Yeah, so he wakes up in a flower field. He's like, "Who am I? Why am I here?" And he's got amnesia. Then he
I
runs
must duel.
pretty much. He runs into the other chick, the chick with the kind of looks like Petra, the penguin looking girl, running away from another dude who was like attacking her with a card.
Wait, what do you mean attacking her with a card?
He's dueling.
No,
He's throwing the cards at her.
yeah, he's holding the card up and I'm like he's shooting fireballs at her, and I'm
Holy
like
shit.
what? But then she blocks with a counter card, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then they run into the main character who's eating bread, and the bad guy dude steps on his bread. He's all like, "Get out of the way! I need to chase this girl." And the main character's like, "You stepped on my bread. Prepare to die." Then he summons his card and like knocks him out. And the
Wait,
chick is like,
what I don't get though. What do you mean he summons his card? So like, if people are fighting this way, can't they just like pull out whatever fucking card they want?
"No, the whole point is it's not as powerful as if you aren't dueling. So you can't kill unless you duel or whatever. I
So you
guess."
show have fucking magic or what?
No, it's it's AR tech, VR tech. I don't know. Solid
Wait,
vision,
what?
sure.
But then
Solid
how are they?
vision.
Oh, so it's like hard light or whatever.
I guess that would explain why they're shooting fireballs at each other. I'm like,
Yeah, because
okay.
if it's AR, then how are they like shooting fucking fireballs?
I
But
guess
if it's like fucking hard light or whatever, then I
Com-
guess.
their interface is AR.
Uh-huh.
They got the dual gazer or whatnot on their eye. But yeah, so the chick sees the dude and he's all like, "Thanks for saving me. I'll buy you bread." And then he's all like, "I don't care because I'm an edgelord and I'm wearing black." This guy's literally an edgelord. Even his deck is edgelord. And she's all like, "Your name, like, she's like, so you know how to play the card game?" He's like, "Whatever." Then she's like, "I'll challenge you to a duel." And he's like, "Whatever." You know,
Damn,
Just
this guy
like
sounds
me.
awesome.
and he's all like, "I'm amnesiac. I don't remember anything." And then they
And
duel.
that's why he's the way he is. Yeah, it's whatever, man.
And then they duel, and then they explain the card game. It's kind of.
I mean, they don't. I'm betting they don't really follow the rules that much because
Oh, they
it's, you know,
do
it's
because you have to because this is a multimedia project, so it's
Yeah.
connected. to the
yeah,
card
but
game.
that didn't prevent the other games from.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of modern, pretty much everything past like Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1, where like Yugi is straight up fucking cheating and like taking his turn during like somebody else's turn.
That's true.
Beyond like that, most TCG like anime series do follow the rules pretty decently outside of like, the final battle where it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna
I
summon
guess they do
I'm just
follow
gonna
the
summon
rules
this monster
specifically.
out of my asshole for no reason, and you're gonna
I
fucking
guess
die.
I guess they do follow the rules precisely. It's just that like sometimes they have cards that are like, yeah, this beats everything on the
Yeah.
field, and you're like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that should be a card.
it's like with the very early episodes of like the Shadowverse anime, where it's like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm literally about to lose. Let me just pull, let me just
Just
pull
top
Ignis
pick, yeah.
Dragon
Yeah.
and win. It's like, what? No, that's not
Yeah.
how that's not how card games work.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
So
Yeah.
let me explain how the card game works. So you start off
Please
with
with these.
10 life star chips things, whatever. I don't know because I was looking for the rules and it's all in Japanese, so I gotta Google Translate this just because the card game came out. So whatever. So you have I guess a deck master slash leader card that is your territory or whatever, and I guess that determines your play style, your field spell, I guess. And then you got mana costs. You draw a card, you can play it as mana or whatever, and each card
Uh-huh.
has a mana cost, so you have that mana cost for your turn, so it costs that much to summon it. Pretty basic MTGs, CG rolls. Then you have it's a 40 card deck, but you have your leader card, so it's 41. But you can have 4 cards with the same 4 cards.
So wait, there's only one leader card?
One territory slash leader card.
So
Territory
it's
card
like
is your
it's like
field.
Commander. It's like MTG Commander, like slash EDH format, right?
But you can only have one in the deck?
Let me rephrase it. Each characters in the series has their main leader, their ace card, which determines how they build their deck.
Sure.
It's not really a deck master. Let me rephrase that. It's more a field spell. It's a territory card that determines your playstyle and whatnot. Because your ace monster, I guess. Sure, whatever. Then you got different types of cards. You got a buster card, shot card. I don't remember. Trigger stuff. You got card effects, whatever. You got to when you attack, you got to tap your card. So whatever. It's like Magic and Vanguard. I don't care. I play
Okay,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
okay.
Yu-Gi. That's the problem that I have with MTG. What does tapping the card mean? Like you play it and you turn it sideways. What does that mean?
It means you can't. There are things that you can't do when you have it tapped, because you've used the ability. Right?
Yeah. Why do you need to turn it sideways? Just declare the ability.
Because
Does it not have?
sometimes,
It's just a visual indicator.
well, no,
Especially
I mean
because, like,
there are things that you can and can't do with a card that's tapped or untapped, essentially, as well. So
Yeah.
it's like
We
you're
just
sort of
call it.
quote unquote using it up in terms of like
We
the
just call
tap.
it a once per turn effect. Just write it on the card. It's not that hard.
Well, if there are other cards that also indicate, you have to have cards on the field that are tapped or untapped and stuff like that, they can also affect.
But it's
But
like if you turn the card in the game, you can use it to block. Like, because if you have a turn card, and opponent attacks you with their monster, you have to
Mhm.
attack the turn card first. I'm like, what? Okay, sure.
Can wait,
so
so
it's like attack and defense mode then, right? Like,
Yes, I don't know. Let me link the rules. There you go. There's the rules.
yeah, it's probably a little bit more finicky just because this is like a new game and it's probably just trying to be like a weird derivative of like
It's
Yu. But
probably something that everyone knows except me because I only play Yu-Gi-Oh. Cool.
so can I mean, I think the more important point is usually when I see anime about card games, they're not particularly good. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part survived because it had enough series to really kind of build up everything. You know what I mean? And
Because
obviously,
every time there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh series, it changes up. You have the basic rules of the game, but then they just add an additional rule on top of it. It doesn't really try
right.
to.
It's kind of all there, and people are kind of used to that sort of like what Yu-Gi-Oh is, how the culture is, how even within like the anime seasons and stuff like that, right? Like how it kind of all pans out. But it's not really like that with other card game animes. So, do you think this anime kind of breaks that bar, or breaks that a standard, and
Oh,
managed to actually get
it's
decent?
standard.
It's standard.
It's literally
Okay,
like all
yeah,
the
very
other card
standard.
game
Okay,
animes.
yeah, I made it
all
look
right.
super, super standard.
Okay, well, that's a little bit unfortunate. What do you think about the audio visuals here? I know the opening was done by Egoist.
Pretty good.
Um,
It's a pretty good
that's
opening. Oh,
pretty
it's okay.
pretty good. Although, can I just say, I just kind of wish that sometimes like the people in Egoist, like especially Rio, who is very well known like composer and stuff like that for Supercell, would sometimes kind of, especially in his like more recent stuff for Egoist, kind of really focuses on like distortion and editing like the voice and really kind of focusing on like the instrumentals and stuff like that instead of like kind of giving more breathing room for the singer. So I wish kind of he would do that a little bit more, but yeah, that's just my little rant. But yeah, it seems pretty at least the audio stuff is pretty good so far. The the visuals
They're
seem pretty
fine.
standard, I says. Yeah. I mean, it's light on films. It's not going to be like terrible, but it seems pretty standard. But yeah.
So yeah. So and then the two duel, and then the main character wins because his territory card is what Gamble of Fate. Because so
Yeah, full fate fucking.
he pulls up his hoodie completely, as you can see in the picture, and his he has a the latch to his hoodie is a scarf. It looks like a scarf. So he turns, so it covers his mouth, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm gambling my fate on this." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Mhm.
And then Midul he suddenly remembers, like, "Oh, I remember now. My goal in life is to defeat the king." And I'm like, "Oh, really?
This game seems really convoluted.
It is kind of.
Well, the issue is that
It just came out,
because
so
people are trying to
Yeah.
make like MTG, but they're like, oh well, it's not MTG, it's like cooler, bro. And so then they kind of chuck in stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but there's already there's so many steps and limitations already,
Mhm.
which I think is a bad way to set up a card game, right? Because like I feel like when you're setting up an initial like release for a card game, you want it to be very simple, right?
Mhm.
Because then you have so much room to like you can take it in really any direction, right? Depending on how you know the players sort of develop the game, um, the meta or whatever. But like with this, I'm going through these rules, right? And like just like off the bat, it's like the construction rules. Like your deck can have 40 to 50 cards, which is fucking insane.
Very
Um,
specific and not very. Yeah, it's
yeah.
they want
You
a very fast-paced game because it's
can
like you
insert
gotta Twitter and go. Yeah.
you can insert up to 4 cards with the same name.
Yeah,
Um,
4.
you
It's
can
usually
only have
3.
You can only have
Yeah.
one territory card, which is apparently separate from the deck count, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, that's your
Um,
main deck playstyle.
You must have exactly 12 Buster cards in your deck, and I'm assuming by
These rules are all so specific.
judging from going through the rules, I'm assuming Buster cards are something like Last Words in Shadowcraft, where when the card goes to the graveyard, it activates some sort of effect. I'm not 100% sure.
I
And
guess
then
Buster Cards is a game changer in a way because
yeah,
when you have a when you have a Buster card in your life as one of your life cards, it triggers a damage overflow. So like if your opponent attacks you and it hits you, and it's a Buster card, it's like, oh no, I take additional damage.
yeah.
So it's
But yeah,
I don't know how that
you
works.
must have exactly 12 Buster cards, right? And then you can put up to 12 shot cards in your deck. And I'm not too sure what shot cards
Shot
are.
card
They
is
say it's like a counter attack type card, but
it's also kind of they showed it in the anime where if you have a Buster card, you take additional damage to your life points when it breaks. But if you
yeah,
have if your shot card is triggered when you take hit to your life points, it's a card you can immediately play on your opponent's turn. That kind of thing.
uh-huh. Right. And then
Yeah, a
So
lot of
they're just
for turn flow, it goes you have your standing phase, which I'm assuming that's where like you set your cards, whether they're like uh sideways or like not. Um, I'm just not 100% sure what like whether setting them sideways or not does. It seems like defense or attack. I'm not too sure. But then you have your draw phase, and then you have your main phase, and then you have the attack phase, and then you have the end phase, and that's your turn. It's like holy shit. Like that seems really convoluted.
well, there are a decent amount of like similar phases again in Magic as well, but it's I think there are a lot of from what I hear there are a lot more how do I say it specifications as to how the deck should be built, which is not as
Yeah.
specific um, in other sort of earlier card games and obviously Magic as well. So yeah. Cecilia in
Yeah.
the chat says this game is from people that play war games. But yeah, it's if you want to check out the rules, you can kind of go on to their site. It's at tcg.build-divide.com /official/how to play again with hyphens instead of spaces.
Keep
But
in
yeah, you can
mind it is in Japanese, but
yeah.
like you know, you can
Most of it
Google
seems
Translate
yeah.
and seem to make general sense of it. But it does seem very, very like there is a lot going on.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of like specific. You got to build the deck this way. You got to have the blah blah
yeah,
blah, which is a
which is
little bit unfortunate.
it's very strange to see from a new card game because
Yeah,
from my experience, a lot of new card games like to set themselves up as very,
yeah,
very simple, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
the simpler you are, the more people you can initially hook in,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's true.
So
But this one is
at
just like whatever. Yeah.
at least you can play cards of any type. It seems because
Mhm.
you then you're not locked to one color of a card.
Yeah.
You know because he's playing cards of different colors and they all count as mana when he plays his cards.
What
So I'm like,
do
I
what
get
do the
sure.
colors indicate?
I guess they're type.
Yeah, they're
Sure,
probably just
like
like they're
they're
probably standard
archetype.
like element. Yeah, they're probably just elements. You got like boosts and stuff like that. But
As
going back
you
to the
can tell,
actual,
as you can
yeah,
tell, each character in this show kind of plays a different color. So he plays the black cards because he's dark and edgy and whatnot, and
that's
his
so Excel world.
his ace card is blue, called blue. So it's a it's a it's a female magician. Her ability is
It's like Ice Queen shit. Yeah.
she banishes 6 cards in your graveyard,
Oh boy.
and the
Oh,
Fucking
cost
blue decks.
and the cost like you add up the energy cost and you can resummon 1 card from the graveyard. So it's like, oh, she can revive the dead, and I'm like, hey, that's like Dark Magician and the Monster Reborn. I get that's cool. And I'm like, sure, that's cool, I guess. Then
Right.
the other chick, I don't remember. She plays a mecha girl, armored girl deck, and I'm like, that's cool. And then that's basically it. And then the second episode, it was just another duel against this light girl. She uses a fairy deck with light cards, and I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. That's 2 episodes worth. What
Yeah.
else?
Okay.
It's pretty bare bones story.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I regardless of like how the card game is, I'm not gonna judge the card game or anything. Like obviously, I
yeah.
don't have enough.
I am.
But yeah, but the anime usually, from my experience of anime of card games outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, tends to fall pretty flat for the most part. So yeah.
It's really convoluted. It's just I don't like the rules where it's like, oh, you say a weird word and you do it. It's like, oh, you hit my card. Let me do a trigger check. Oh, robuster
Yeah.
check.
Yeah,
Shot
they
check.
always have weird
Critical. Like,
vocab.
what is it?
Yeah.
Critical level up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Again,
can't tap, you have to.
that's why you want to set up a card game to be very simple. Because
Yeah.
especially
Especially if you rename stuff. Yeah.
especially if you're like doing a multimedia project and
Mhm.
your anime is just like, yeah, these characters just know the rules and they're just gonna play
Yeah.
it out. It's like, well, you know, the audience should be able to follow along as well, without having to have like a absolutely fucking massive like info dump before they start dueling.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Or you explain as the duel goes along, which is I think something that Yu-Gi-Oh did
Yu-Gi-Oh
fairly well.
always does that.
Um,
Every episode in Yu-Gi-Oh, whenever you pop in, like even if you're someone who barely knows the game,
yeah, like
whenever
even
they
if you
play a
like,
card, they always they explain everything that happens with that
yeah,
card. And
like
I'm like,
even in like the middle of the series, like if you pop into a random episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, like every single turn a character takes, they will explain everything they are doing. And that's good because Yu-Gi-Oh is a relatively complicated card game, right?
but the
Especially
complication is not within the game mechanics; it's within the cards themselves.
yeah. So like having like everything explained is like, you know, it might sound a little like
Just you're going through the paces, right? You're like
yeah,
narrating over there,
it might
telling,
sound
not
like
showing. Yeah.
almost like condescending to the
Yeah.
viewer, but like
It's like telling,
it
not
is
showing, but yeah.
necessary.
It's
Like
necessary. Yeah. I
yeah.
agree with yeah.
So
It's a little
when
bit
like you
unfortunate.
have characters that are literally just throwing out fucking uh like game mechanics and they're not explaining what they do or like what the effect is, it's just like what the fuck is going on, you know?
Mhm.
Um kind of
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it's a little bit unfortunate. Anyways. Any last words on the series? Toast?
The main character is a piece of shit. I don't like him. If you only have 2 types of character, 2 archetypes of characters in card games like this. You either have a super genki dude who's like, oh, high five, like high five this guy, whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna make everyone my friend through duels, and I'm like, that's fine, you can keep that. or you have a super cool dude who's like that, but also no, that's actually one archetype. You got to have a guy that prioritizes friendship and duels above everything else and having fun. But he's either hot-headed guy or cool. That's literally you only have those two choices. You can't have this edgelord guy who's like, oh, I must defeat the king.
But he's got that awesome like bunny-eared hoodie, like the protagonist from that one fucking like SMT anime.
You know who else has a bunny hood hoodie but doesn't wear it? Deku. You notice that? He's got his green jumpsuit, but he never pulls it up. It's a bunny. It's a bunny hood too.
I mean, he does
Wait.
sometimes.
Yeah, but then
You
it
know,
like
you
breaks.
might get one episode a season.
But yeah, it's like he's a gambler. He feels more like in place. He'd feel more in world, in universe, in like something like Kaiji or Squid Game
Okay.
or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's not. He doesn't deserve to be the cool protagonist that everyone can emulate. But whatever, I guess.
Okay.
You had to do something to separate yourself from the pack. Well, I won't remember this guy at all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Toast.
My rating 8 out of 10. I'll keep watching.
8 out of 10?
There it is.
All right.
There's
This
I
is the Toast we love, yeah. Anyways,
I'm kind of invested in the. I mean, I like.
but that
cartoon
doesn't
anime.
explain the 8 out of 10.
I mean, it doesn't look bad, in my opinion.
That's true.
I mean, like, I don't give a shit about the story. I just want to see the duels. Like, come on.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you're watching a card game anime at this point, like you're in it for the duels. Let's be real.
I mean, what Yu-Gi-Oh series do I have to watch? I mean, I can watch 5Ds, rewatch 5Ds all I want, and I am doing that. But what's the current Yu-Gi-Oh series? Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't even know. Yu-Gi-Oh Rush? I don't even remember the name. Sevens? It's freaking Rush duels. It's freaking Vanguard.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I supposed to? I'm not gonna watch a dumbed down Yu-Gi-Oh. I want the real Yu-Gi-Oh. So doing this and Yu Sevens, I kind of rather watch this because if I try to get into Vanguard, there's like what 7 seasons of Vanguard. I don't care. I don't want to hear the words trigger check, critical check all over again. At least this one is plain. I've been explained to episode 1, so I kind of get it more than Vanguard. That's why, yeah, I'll keep watching it. Sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Toast. And that was a little bit of a lengthier discussion than I expected for this series, but okay.
Yeah, but it's Toast talking about a card game series, so.
But next I'm going to try to keep my series hopefully short. It is one episode of a series that's gonna get a lot of mentions on Twitter for zero reason, and on Facebook probably, where all those sorts of people live. It is what is it? Sorry, this is like I'm like running out of energy at like midnight. 108秒で君の耳を幸せにできるか? Or am I will I be able to make your ears happy in 180 seconds? So this is this a quote unquote first person perspective anime in the same way like I believe like One Room, that like series of shorts was a first person ish. It's done by very small studio, just Ekachi Epilka and Indivision, just like studios that nobody knows about. Has a bunch of like A-lister voice actresses doing, ASMR stuff, just getting paid easy money, I guess. Literally just going in and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna pretend I'm doing ASMR," and then just leaving. What is this? This is Wakiazumi.
Is that a Coup 100?
Yeah, exactly. They have that in
Is
there.
that the $10,000?
Yeah. Or they're pretending they have that, yeah. So it's Azumiyaki, or Wakiazumi, it's Mimori Suzuko, it's Koga Aoi, it's Ito Kanae, and Jaime Sho, Serizo Yu, like a bunch of sort of A-lister, B-lister voice actresses. And I mean, I don't know. I keep saying again, like, or I don't know if I keep saying, but I've said multiple times in this podcast that the anime industry is a huge revolving door, right? It's like the people in the anime, manga, visual novel, light novels, web novels, doing their own promotional stuff on YouTube, quick casting, whatever. The ASMR, VTuber, etc. They all very much just kind of go around and around and around in like a big kind of loop, revolving door stuff. Just dipping in and out of one industry and going into another, stuff like that, especially during this like COVID time where a lot of say voice actresses are doing their own YouTube stuff. So when I watched this, there were two thoughts in my mind. One, I was like, for all of the harsh stuff that happens in the anime industry, like the harsh work that say animators are going through, there's also a lot of easy work that seems to be given out for like the voice actresses and so on, just doing this. Because I, for the life of me, could not understand why this was being made. I mean, I could, but also at the same time, I just couldn't. Like, you know what I mean? Just why is this a thing? Why is this an anime? And then the second thought I had was again related to revolving door that I just mentioned, and I just thought to myself, just like it's just come full circle, right? Like the ASMR stuff that started over on YouTube, on Twitch casting, on wherever these Japanese um, aspiring voice actresses and the Twitter influencers and stuff like that. The YouTube channels all did their ASMR to gain their followers, and now it's coming home to stay. You have the famous voice actresses who do the ASMR now in these shorts. Session's just like, just file this one under hentai review. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Well, Spire, let me ask, since you are the ASMR specialist, are they actually using
No.
that Ku 1100 microphone? Can you tell? Are they actually using real ASMR techniques?
I mean, they are obviously using a binaural because you can hear it like on the different sides. I don't know if it's an actual Crew 100, but I'm guessing it's might not be because it's like, first of all, those things are expensive, and the studio is probably not going to pay for that much of an expensive mic just for this series of shorts. And secondly, in my opinion, you can kind of hear a little bit more of like a fadeaway on the dummy head mic than you can on the binaural, just because the regular like binaural mics, like the smaller ones that you can hold and stuff.
The 3DO ones?
Yeah.
3DO ones? Yeah, those are like...
Those are ones you can literally like hold them in your hand, like they're pretty small.
Yeah.
So they have a less of a fadeaway. I don't know why I know this much ASMR stuff, which is kind of sad.
Spire, let me ask you. What's
Yes?
the deal with with people who have the Ku 100? Why do they lather it up? Like, does that damage the foam in some way, or like how does that work?
No,
So no, it doesn't
They-
damage it. They're
because
just
they
doing it
lather
for
it
the
up because it makes a sound. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. They make the foam sound or the
Yeah.
bubble sound or whatever, the
But
squishy, slimy sounds,
Does
or they
that
lick it
damage
or do
the?
whatever.
Does that damage it in any way? I don't know how that works.
no.
Really?
As long as it doesn't get into like the ear hole, basically.
So,
You could
So
just
that-
wash those things
oh,
off. Like,
okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it has to be at least somewhat durable, given that it's $10,000.
yeah.
So what I again, like I feel like this voice actor is called pretty, or I would say tier 2, tier 3 voice actor is called Koiwai Kotori. And she has done a lot of voices for stuff like The Idolmaster.
Is she the
and
one that got in trouble?
You mean with like the Chinese stuff? What are you
with
talking
the with the compensated dating.
No, that's a different
No.
Animaster. That's
Alright.
she did her stuff in like shiny. That's the shiny colors of voice. But this was for Million Live, and she did yeah. So she did a bunch of voice actors
Yeah.
stuff, and she also
Tori
she's
Koiwai
literally
is ranking.
yeah she's literally running right now. Like you can buy her works on DL site, and you can buy like ASMR works because she's been calling all of her connections, and she's been gathering up ASMR works of famous famous voice actresses. So if you go to her channel, she'll have ASMR on Takahashi Rie. Takahashi Rie, obviously, voice behind stuff like Mega Man. Imai Asami, Shihaya Idolmaster. There's Ueda Reina, who did Miyane and Wata 10, right? Bunch of stuff.
Is she like inviting them to her house to do this kind of stuff?
Or inviting to her studio, right? And like,
Yeah.
she has like the entire thing. She has the full ASMR VODs. She has like interviews with the voice actresses. She has a VOD where it's like a live viewing sort of the voice actress kind of hanging around the dummy mic and like recording the actual ASMR, so you can like see the voice actors kind of like.
I always found that weird.
Well,
like,
it's weird,
watch.
and it's in the weird in the same. Well, it's weird, but it sells, and it's obvious why it sells because the ASMR portion is not even the important part of ASMR anymore in Japanese anime-related culture and this
Yeah.
twit casting YouTuber channel culture, right? It's the point is not. It's why cosplay ASMR exists, and it's such a big part of the whole like Japanese anime, whatever the fuck, right? It's like why do you need cosplay to do ASMR, right? Is the big question. Like, you're not hearing the cosplay for the most part.
Yeah, you
right?
are. You can hear the rustling of the fabric. Close your eyes and imagine.
And then I can specifically hear the type of fabric for the nurse outfit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that definitely sounds like Reimu's costume.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, it's like ASMR, as far as the Japanese anime, VTuber, so on culture is concerned, is only another mechanic for delivering XYZ thing that a cute girl is doing. So the ASMR is not the important part. It's the fact that cute girl is doing it is the important. Yeah, Session says, because it's jerk off material. Thank you for cutting straight to the chase there.
But
Pretty much. Yes.
Spot, you'll have to explain to me the nuances of why ASMR is so good, because
It's not good.
Is there a
It's
nuance
not.
to it? I
I don't think there's no.
I don't think
I've
there's
never
any
been like
subtlety or nuance
ASMR's.
to it whatsoever.
Like,
'Cause,
I listen to it all the time and it's so good. That's not what I've
Like,
said.
because like I like when Germa did his hot tub stream, and I was like, let's see what Amaranth is up to in comparison. Because I tuned in for like 5 seconds.
Okay.
She was
Uh-huh.
deep throating her mic, and I was like, ugh, no
That
thanks.
sounds so awesome.
Yeah, and people
like,
watch it because she's doing it and they like looking at her doing it. Question mark.
And ooh, I do.
I
Let's
think you
also
mean
count.
exclamation point.
Exclamation
Let's
points.
count. Let's count ASMR mukbang, and I'm like, I sure love the sound of other
That shit's
people's
fucking
chewing.
rancid, dude.
And I'm like, ugh. Dude, close your
But
mouth.
you see plenty
weirdo.
but you see plenty of the Japanese like
No,
female
no.
YouTubers and the VTubers doing that shit all the time, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch this because this cute VTuber girl is doing it, and
I do
whatever.
not say that. I will
I mean,
never
not
say that.
you, but the 8,000 people watching their streams or whatever.
Refer
the fuck,
to it
right?
as those freaks.
Those free.
I mean, the only type of
Excuse me,
ASMR that
sir.
I like is I like card opening ASMR.
Hmm.
That's the good stuff. Or a
Peeling back the
Beyblade.
foil.
Hell
They
yeah,
whisper
dude.
about it too.
It's like, oh, it's a rare. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Where they whisper scream. Let's go.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, if you scream, if you speak at like a normal, like speaking voice into an ASMR mic, it fucking peaks so hard. Like you have
Honestly, there was actually the only thing I'm actually interested about in terms of like ASMR is like there are a couple of clips of Japanese voice actors, and I say especially actors these days because male actors are actually like, especially the older generation. I say older generation, but it's only like 2000s ish, right, onwards. But like Yuki Kaji, for example, or like Suki Tomokazu or Ono Daisuke, right? These sort of older voice actors now, male voice actors, are actually more used to these like dummy mics and binaural stuff than a lot of the female voice actresses are. Do you know why? You guys know why?
no.
Oh,
Because they're not as like popular as the female like voice actors, so they don't necessarily get like scooped up into a lot of like anime, right? So uh earlier on in their careers, they made a lot of their money using recording for like stuff like BL CDs and BL radio stuff. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
they got used to doing the whole like, or like for Fujoshi stuff, right? So it's like using the binaural mic to be like, like you're whispering behind the girl, like right next to the girl's ear, and like seducing them or whatever the fuck, right? It was right. So
when are we getting Tokyo Encounter with a binaural mic?
yeah, no, they actually have
So it's like we get to sit in between
have you
Sugita and
not seen
Nakamura.
yeah, have you not seen the Abema TV? There's like a series, Yoru no Asobi or something like that. But there's a series of stuff sponsored YouTube clips or YouTube videos sponsored by Abema TV, where they bring a bunch of voice actors on, and they like oftentimes they bring on the binaural mic because it was when the whole like ASMR stuff was like going up and up and up, and they had Nakamura and like Yasumoto Hiroki, known for his deep dark voice, for stuff like Guile and the Modern Street Fighters 4 and 5, I believe, as well as Azrael and Blaze Blue and stuff like that. So, they had him, they had, I believe, Nakamura, they had Takachi Eguya, Eguchi Takuya, yeah, Eguchi Takuya, right? Like just in and just like voicing. I believe they had Tsuda Kenjiro, right? Tsuda Ken on there too, and just voicing that stuff. So they're actually all used to it, and Yuki Kaji, stuff like that. They're all used to it. And what was really interesting to me is, for instance, Yuki Kaji was teaching Takashi Rie how to position yourself around the mic specifically to like create like these like voice like fadeaways, like differences, and like
Damn.
make it seem like you're actually like kind of whispering next to their ears or seducing them or whatever. And obviously, like Takashi Rie, being a younger female voice actress who didn't have to make BL CDs for a living, didn't know how to do that. She was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
step aside. Let me teach you
yes,
the art of
yeah,
seducing men.
yeah, exactly." So that sort of like instruction, like how to actually work the dummy mic, like voice actresses, like pros actually like spilling their techniques. That's actually fascinating to me. But this whole like, I'm gonna wear a Genshin cosplay or I'm gonna wear a Hololive cosplay and do ASMR for like 2 hours. I'm just
Well, hold on now. What kind? What kind of Genshin cosplay?
I don't know. I don't play the game, bro.
Yikes.
Isn't it mostly just like Raiden Shogun cosplays these days or whatever
Now?
the fuck it is?
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
because
She's like the fucking
especially because you can
One-san.
do that. Especially because you can do that thing where you just like hint at flashing your boobs because she's got to pull the sword out of the boobs or whatever the fuck, right? Or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Listen, when's the fucking Suda Kenshiro like binaural
Right, it showed
audio
it.
invites you to a bar and then threatens you?
No, I will. No, I'm serious. He does like a scolding one in one of the Bema TV clips. I'll actually link that one. But
That rocks.
yeah. Anyways, the going back to the series, I don't know. It depresses me because it's just like I
How much
understand why this was
ASMR
made.
is in this show?
It's all supposed to be all ASMR,
I mean,
but
like,
it's
how
just
much of it comprised? How many episodes you've watched?
there's only
How,
one episode out right now.
like, how much ASMR was in that one episode then? Like 10 minutes?
Like
5 minutes?
no, it's 3 minutes short, so pretty much the entire thing. I don't. I There might
Wow.
be an opening in the next like thing in the next episode that's like takes probably like however many seconds, 30, 45 seconds. But beyond that, I don't think there's not much.
Yeah, see, that
But
is
yeah.
unfortunate because a series like everything you were just going over and like going into that sort of trivia or just like in general covering like drama
Yeah,
CDs
that would be
using
good.
like
That would be
binaural
cool.
mics and
Like
stuff
the
would be
actual
really
techniques and
cool.
like doing that. Yeah, instead of just being like, I'm a
Yeah,
girl
and
and
it's like
I'm doing
you
ASMR.
could
It's like
literally have
do that.
like the first half of your episodes be all like the trivia and the setup and like the process of what they're about to do.
Yeah,
And
that
then
would be
you could have
cool.
the second half be
Fuck.
like the execution of it.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But it's just like,
Yeah, anyway,
ooh,
so I just like
I'm
saved anime. So really, my
yeah, just send in the check. Send Dark
yeah,
the check.
send me over the checks, Netflix. I'll fucking produce a series for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
well,
we're
I
gonna have
wouldn't watch
ASMR.
it. So
Because thanks to Dark, we're gonna
It's
have
not
ASMR
for you.
visions. We're gonna have ASMR visions.
ASMR,
It's
yeah.
gonna be
Star Wars Visions, lightsaber ASMR.
lightsaber cosplay ASMR. You just
ASMR, you're being beheaded by a lightsaber.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, I was just depressed while watching this series. Don't watch it. If you like ASMR, just go onto YouTube and just Google cosplay ASMR or whatever the fuck you guys Google. Oh shit, fucking fly here. But anyways,
Let me ask you this, Spire. Is it better than Silent Library? Because Silent Library
Silent
technically
Library.
counts as ASMR because they speak in whispers the whole time.
That's true. You're right, and you can hear them from like omnidirectional. So yeah,
Yeah.
you could be close. Yeah, that's a good idea, Toast.
So it's not better than Silent Library.
No, fortunately.
Don't watch the American ones with the wrestlers. No, don't watch that. Talk about the real OG Silent Library, where they try to keep quiet.
I mean, I like that one to be honest, more than any like random ASMR stuff that I've seen. But anyways, that's pretty much all I had for now. And with that, last but not least, we are moving on to Nier. What do you have for us?
wow. I watched. Fuck is this called again?
AMAIM, Warriors at the Bound, I believe Warriors at the Boundary or something like that. And then the Japanese name for it is Kyoukai Senki.
Kyoukai
Yeah.
Senju no Horizon.
No.
That would have been cool though. Please get
Um.
that in the second season.
Yeah,
Or stage.
Kyoukai Senki. Is a Sunrise Beyond series.
The heck is
Mhm.
Beyond mean?
Sunrise Beyond is, I guess, like a sister studio for Sunrise or something. I'm
Oh
not 100%
no,
sure.
Sunrise Beyond is so you know how Production IG swallowed up Zebek when it was on the verge of bankruptcy. Or like this was a long time
Yeah.
ago. This was over half a decade ago. And Zebek itself was already known for its like mecha series, such as most notably Fafnir in the Azure, I believe, or something like that, right? Fafnir. They still owned the license rights over at Zebek. Oh, for Fafnir. So Production IG swallowed up Zebek. And then I believe about in 2020, yeah, about a year ago, I believe Sunrise bought the Zebek part of Production IG from Production IG, and literally just pasted over the Zebek studio, like physical location, as Sunrise Beyond. I believe that
Right.
is the full history.
So yeah, they've done Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise Season 2.
I mean, overall, like the Zebek, like if Sunrise Beyond, obviously Sunrise themselves are famous, for this sort of work, this line of work. But Zebek themselves are no slouch. So if Sunrise Beyond is like composed of 80 to 90% Zebek people, like they've got the pedigree. You know what I mean? They've got the
Yeah.
pedigree.
Yeah. So this is a mecha series to expect from a Sunrise property. This is not a Gundam series, uh, which is something that Sunrise doesn't do very often. They're kind of fucking married to Gundam. largely because it's their safest, easiest moneymaker, yes. But yeah, this is a mecha series set in Japan in the year 2061. And Japan has been, I guess, taken over, invaded by 4 different factions. And they're essentially fighting like fucking proxy wars
Gonna
in
fight.
Japan. And they're using like these
fight.
unmanned, like AI powered robots called AMAIMs. I don't know why they're called AMAIMs. I don't know if it stands for something. But yeah, they're AI powered, and Japan is like it's basically entirely occupied. And the Japanese are the most oppressed people in the world.
As you do, right?
Yeah. This series starts off with our main character, Amo Shiba, voiced by Gen Sato, and he likes to collect robot parts, which is
So he's a junker. Nice.
yeah, which is extremely illegal, apparently, because it's basically like fucking stealing military tech from whichever country is occupying the current part of Japan that he's in. Um, I think the first area he's in is like the Eurasian Army or some shit.
Again, as you do.
Yeah. And they basically just they're basically just army people with blue berets. So basically, I guess like the UN is oppressing Japan, as they do.
Yeah. So
But
reality.
yeah. So they display like the fucking occupying force as like comically evil, like annoyingly so. Like the main general, I guess, is this dude where he's like, "Oh, I hate being assigned to this like countryside part of Japan. I want my career to have some sort of achievement." And then I guess he's like, his second in command is like, "What if we arrested a bunch of terrorists?" Um, and then she's like, "They don't have to actually be terrorists, though."
God damn it.
And so they arrest a bunch of children, who just so happen to be our main character's friends, who also, collect robot parts, and they frame them for being terrorists, and then they somehow track down the main character, um, and they also say you're a terrorist, uh, but it just so happens that the main character has been building a fucking robot with the spare parts that he has, right?
Right.
And just the day before, he just so happened to find in the middle of the fucking woods an AI core, basically, um, like on the brink of death. And he saves this AI core and he plugs it into the robot and he fights the evil military. And somehow the evil military does not kill his friends. For
Does
some
he
They're
go
very
reason.
kind.
inside the
They're very kind
robot, or
people.
does the robot
He
just command
pilots
it?
the mecha. So it is the one interesting thing about this series is that he's piloting the robot, right? But in this world, like um piloted robots are like they're a thing of the past, right? Because all the robots are AI powered, they're unmanned, or they're piloted remotely, right?
Right.
And so in the first confrontation he has with the military, he's fighting these 2 like walker robots. They're basically just a couple guns strapped to legs, right?
The idea is that like the way this story is set up is that it's the armed hero, it's a lone mecha warrior hero fighting against like the faceless, like almost like literally dehumanized enemies. That's sort of how
Yeah.
most games are set
Yeah.
up. Anyway,
But yeah, they're unpiloted or whatever, like
Yeah, yeah.
remotely piloted. And so like when the robot like busts out of the building that he's holed up in, the military is like, split up, like have one unit like chase the robot and have another like route back to the building that the robot came from and kill the pilot, right? And so they start shooting into the empty building, and then the main character's like, what the hell are they doing? And so the AI is like, yeah, robots aren't usually piloted, dumbass. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty standard, like shonen mecha series.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean the important thing. Sorry for interrupting. I think the most important thing that everybody wants to know is how are the fucking scenes? How are the visuals?
Is it CG?
no, so it's not CG.
Good.
Which is
Good.
nice.
Yes.
However, I
Uh
think some
oh.
of the animation is not so hot.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it's I I mean, I won't put it too much on COVID, but it's like, especially in 2021, trying to create a mecha series of that caliber without CG is a little bit of a hard call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be, yeah, they were hard pressed.
So in terms of audio visuals, as you could probably tell, like the promotionals, they're very much going for the IBO aesthetic, Iron Blooded
Mhm.
Orphans.
Yes.
A lot of very, it's very shiny, so a lot of the action is like a lot of slow mo. You know what I mean? Like where
No, okay.
the robot will like dash at somebody and he'll like fucking tear it apart because he's got this big ass like blade on his arm,
Uh-huh.
which I'm guessing is a pile bunker.
Wow,
Uh,
Barbados all over again.
yeah. And he'll tear it apart, and it'll have like the close up of like the robot's face with you know the dynamic lighting, and he's shiny, and there's debris flying in slow motion all over the place, and it's very cool.
Man with a
Um,
mission blaring.
Yeah. And he screams out his signature move. Stuff like that. It's super
That's just
fucking
like
anime.
me. Yeah.
They even make like, you know, his funny AI companion, which by the way is a fucking like it's basically a mascot character. Uh it's
So
like
it's a
this weird
Haro?
pink, like uh fluffy. I can't even really describe it. It's
It
not
looks like
it's
a
not really
fucking
like
Neopet.
yeah, it's an animal or anything, but it's like this fluffy thing with ears.
Uh,
That's basically the best I could describe it. It's
So
pink.
it's a Haro. It's a pink
It's pink.
Haro.
It's fluffy. It's got ears, and it bounces around a lot. Fucking screams all the time. But they have this bit in the first episode where it's like, yeah, do your signature move. And the main character is like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, you got to like imagine that there's like this extreme pressure building up inside of you, and then you have to let it all out, and then the robot only accepts auditory like commands. And he's like,
Hell
that's
yeah.
that's
It's the only
bullshit.
way.
is this like a
Um,
Roomba? What is this? Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's basically just a joke of like, yeah,
Yeah.
just scream out your signature move and you'll win. Um, and he does it pretty much immediately after. Um, and his signature move, I guess, is basically just punching a robot really fucking hard.
So it's like the big O, the big O's punch,
Um,
or no?
not quite. It's not.
Oh,
It's not. So like I say that like the blade on his arm is like I guess supposed to be a pile bunker, but they don't really like show it. It's not like It's not like fucking like he punches the robot and then the pile bunker activates like afterward,
wasted.
which
That
is really
wasted.
lame, right? It's very, very, very lame because like the the satisfaction of a pile bunker, right, is that second impact, where you have like you have the initial impact, which maybe like breaks some of the armor, and then you have the wind up, and then the pile bunker, which like goes like fucking all the way through and absolutely fucking demolishes whatever you're hitting, right? But this one, it's kind of just like an arm blade, where he punches it and it goes through. I don't know if they're gonna maybe do something more interesting later. Hopefully, because right now his robot is very bare bones. Like he doesn't have any guns on it. He doesn't have like he literally has nothing on it. He's literally just like punching drones and fucking like hitting them with the arm blade.
Wait,
Which
so can I ask something in the cover art for this, right? He's
Yeah.
like holding a fucking sword, right? Is that sword anywhere? What's happening there?
So far, no, he has not had his sword. He's got a blade on his arm, which I'm assuming will probably transform later
Or
on
into the samurai sword? Yeah.
into a sword, right? And he's tried to use a gun, but I think it was like fucking MGS4 shit where it's like, yeah, it's like
It's ID
it's like
locked.
Yeah,
ID
ID
locked.
locks.
You
Hell
can't
yeah.
use that gun. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, the action's it's not like bad. But again, like
It's not the best.
it is the cost of not having CG, right?
Yes.
Where you are going to have some cuts where it's just like, that doesn't look so good. But it does
It's an
focus.
admirable effort.
Yeah, it does focus mostly on those key frames where it's like, yeah, doing cool stuff in slow motion, right? Which is, it looks good.
Kuroko no Basket style.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the story is very, it's very like very predictable and very generic so far,
Standard,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah. I
have
mean, again, nobody cares about
the four factions within Japan. Pretty much all of them are like faceless military shit. There's some weird like fucking military commander that like sees like, oh wow, the piloted robot, that is very interesting. I want to test my tactical prowess against this piloted robot. And it's like, okay, I guess this guy's the antagonist. And then you have your main character who's like, oh, I don't know about this one, but gets in the robot and I guess fights the entire world's military that is centered in Japan, regardless. I mean, there's some nice moments in episode 2. Uh, like the story is like, you know, I guess he's trying to get, uh, I guess he's trying to get out of Japan right now. Like he's on the run. Um, and so like he's trying to get to sea, right?
Mhm.
But obviously he's in a giant fucking robot, so he can't really do that. Incognito.
Right.
So he's trying to he's waiting for I guess the cover of darkness to do some shit. And then he's like, while I'm waiting for nighttime, I need some food, right? And so he comes across this farm and he attempts to steal a tomato for some reason, and
Fuck.
he's about to just bite into a whole ass tomato.
Yeah, the
Um,
Japanese do be like that.
yeah, and
Was it like a cherry tomato or a regular tomato?
it was a big ass tomato.
Nice.
But he gets caught by
Oh,
this
like the
old man.
Gainax tomatoes, yes.
Yeah. The most fulfilling of tomato.
Yes.
But he gets caught by this old man, and he's like, obviously he's framed for being a fucking terrorist, which honestly at this point he basically is. He has actively, come into conflict with the military.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, he's like, like, I'm sorry for stealing, like please don't turn me in. And the old man's like, uh, if you put in your fair share of work, I'll let you eat some food, right? And so he spends like all
Yeah.
day doing like farm work and like bonding with his old man. Um, and then he invites him in for dinner and lets him have a bath. And then there's like the old couple gets like this backstory, a bit of backstory where it's like, yeah, like their son died in like the previous war, and like the old couple like really doesn't give a shit whether he's like terrorist or not, because like he's a good person at heart because he helped with the farm work. He didn't steal the tomato, he worked for the tomato. And they offer like to let him basically stay, right? Like just
Right.
like you can use our place as a refuge, and he's like, I can't do that, I'd put you at risk, right? And so he ends up taking their boat, right? Which, to be fair, they offered to let him take it, and he was like, I couldn't do that. That's too much. And then he does it immediately after, right? So he takes the boat, and then he goes not out of Japan, but into another part of Japan for some reason. And he like gets into a conflict with the Asian military, which I guess is supposed to be like China? Question mark? I don't know. They just call it the Asian military. And then he gets
Isn't
into a fight.
Russia part of Asia?
I mean, yeah, but
Sometimes.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to just be China.
Yeah.
And he gets into a fight, and he gets completely outgunned. And then like I guess the other character, the black-haired dude, saves him.
Yeah,
and
opens
he's
up a
and
portal
s-
from the 1980s and
yeah,
steps out.
he's super cool, and he's got a sniper. And then that's where the episode ends. But yeah, like it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty generic. The old couple was nice, but again, that's like pretty predictable.
But did they die?
Course of actions. They did not die.
Wow, that's a
Yet.
plus. Oh,
But yeah, this series is obviously like it's definitely trying to, I guess, recapture or like redo sort of like the aesthetic and feel of Iron Blooded Orphans. Hopefully without the really fucking annoying death flags constantly being raised. But we're only 2 episodes in, so that remains to be seen.
You can't have a serious mecha series without death flags. No, yeah, come on.
You can actually.
here's
Believe
a
it or not.
here's a hot take. I didn't like IBO all that much, especially season 2.
Yeah,
here's
not
a
very many
hot
people
take.
did.
I openly said I hated season 2.
Yeah,
Season 2
season
fucking
2
sucked. Like
season 2 was not
season
very
1
good.
was alright, and then season 2 drove off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
Good memes though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
for sure. But yeah, overall the series is okay. Again, I am getting kind of tired of the way like Japan, and anime and just like Japanese writers try to depict like oppression, where it's literally like people being fucking beaten in the streets. And it's like, there are other forms of oppression and like
Also, it's
Yeah.
not like
ways.
Japan. Let's not pretend like Japan wasn't an eternally oppressed
Yeah.
country.
Put
Speaking as
nails and glue in their shoes. That'll oppress them.
Yeah. And I mean like Japan, has a history with occupying forces. You know, I mean, there's history to draw upon from both sides, really. But they always make
I
it
wants
like
to know your location.
yeah. There's like there's always this like weird cartoonishly evil aspect to it, and it's like an occupying force can oppress citizens in a way that doesn't like completely dehumanize them. Uh, I don't know.
Or just
I
not as not as openly, not as like
yeah, it's just like
visibly.
I
Well, I
would like
mean,
I would like some nuance to the concept of literally every single military in the world decided to occupy Japan. Like why? And
just
also
yeah.
For
why
their
are
magic
all of them
medals.
Why are all of them
because they're
evil?
technology.
Like,
Because that's how it is. They're anybody that's not Japanese and is aggressive are evil people. So
true.
the one thing that is, again, I want to wrap this up pretty quickly, um, but what I've always noticed, and this is especially evident in like light novels and visual novels and stuff like that, is the oppression thing is there, but then also on the flip side of pretty much the exact same coin, Japanese visual novels and light novels have this habit of being like, especially for isekais and stuff like that, they'll just like be talking and it'll be this plot point. They'll just be talking about stuff, right? Or it'll be this arc where they're developing something. And in the middle of it, it'll just be like, you know, this is why I'm so glad I was in Japan. I live in Japan because of this convenience. Or like they'll be like, yeah, man, Japanese rice, the greatest rice in the world, baby. It's like, bro, come on, like, can we just get on with it without being like, yeah, Japan #1, man. Just like we don't have to have that, all right? Like, can we just get through? Like, speaking as a Korean, like there are plenty of times where like Koreans will just kind of like push people to be like, "Oh, Koreans are really good at something like that," and they'll be obnoxious to that. But in terms of like fictional media, like Korean fictional media will straight up be like, "Yeah, like everything sucks in
Yeah,
Korea. Like
Korea
fuck
fucking
this.
blows
Yeah, yeah."
ass.
I know. They'll literally be like, "I
Inspire
don't know why I was fucking born in this country.
Inspire.
This
If
sucks."
Korea is so good, then explain Squid Game.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
I
funny
like.
because like the very start of this series, right?
Mhm,
The first line or some of the first lines when it's talking about like um I guess what happened during like the 21st century in
mhm,
Japan,
exactly.
right? And it was saying like Japan was like basically on the brink. Um, and the reasons it states is failed economic policies, the aging population combining with low birth rates, and a bunch of other factors. And it's like, damn, is this going to like make like real world like commentary? And then
Mhm.
immediately afterwards, it's just like, yeah, and because of those, every other nation just decided to completely bumfuck Japan,
Dogpile.
and
Yeah.
we could do nothing about it. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're just going to take these real world issues that Japan is currently going through right now and say, you know, not make a commentary on them at all and just be like, yeah, it's the rest of the world's fault that our fictional Japan is really bad right now, and not because of our current government or any of our other issues. It's like, okay, I mean, sure, like it would have been interesting for a mecha series to actually make legitimate political commentary
Yeah, and I mean, and
in
also like you said, like
the nation that
why
it's
are
set
these
in.
other forces invading Japan? Like
Yeah,
vulnerable or not, why are they there?
like
Right.
What?
granted, Japan is a very politically uh, convenient island, um, and I suppose really any occupying force uh, could have like a lot of political power to be there, but it's like I don't think literally every military in the world would instantly convene on Japan.
Dogpile.
Uh,
They got to get that advanced technology, bro.
and I don't think like they would use Japan, this tiny fucking island, as a staging ground for constant proxy wars. I don't think that would happen.
No, they gotta, bro. They gotta take advantage of Japan's high technology, man.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like I don't know. It's just so weird to me that like a lot of like um like near future like semi dystopian like Japanese settings, it's like it's always the foreign government's fault. It's like, what about your own?
And,
Like
and
your
the
own's
best
not doing
part
so
is
hot right now. Like,
it's like it's always like the UN has created an all powerful council to rule over Japan. It's like the UN couldn't like fucking get people
yeah,
to
the
brush
UN
their teeth.
the
Like,
UN literally couldn't rule over like an island of fucking 3 people. Like,
yeah, I know.
let's be real. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of the whole like, yeah, it's the other government that is inside of Japan, and that is the reason that the citizens are unhappy. It's like, I don't know. How about like, I don't know. Just make like, if you're gonna like allude to political statements in the beginning of your series, like, do it. Like,
Yeah.
just blame your own government. Fuck it. Like, why not? You know.
It's a little bit unfortunate,
But
you
yeah,
know.
you know. Other than that, it's a very standard mecha series.
Mhm.
It's not like gritty and dark, like a lot of series have been lately, which is sort of, I guess, a breath of fresh air. Not really, because like it is still it's still very standard series.
Okay.
But like you know, it's not bad.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that. It's a Sunrise mecha series.
I mean,
Um,
again, the important thing is, have been and always will be the scene, right? So
yeah.
it's not really about the plot. If it was the plot, a lot of Gundam series would have gone by the wayside for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't look terrible. It looks nice in the moments where it wants you to be like, wow, look at this. And it's serviceable.
Mhm.
Otherwise, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah. With that, thank you, Nier, for helping to cover.
So near,
Yes. That was
so near. Is it better than what was the last season's mecha anime?
I don't know.
Oh.
86.
That's
That's actually.
current.
I don't know. What is the
Uh,
last mecha series? Like, I'm pretty sure the last series with mechs in it that came out was 86, right? Like,
Oh.
Yeah.
and that's not really
It's
mecha
not really.
series.
Is
The focus
IBO
is
really
on
the
mecha.
last Gundam series before this?
No, Build
outside
Divers.
Or is it
Right.
better than Build Ever? No.
I mean, it's
Oh.
probably better than regular Build Divers. However, Build Divers, whatever the other one was, the ONA, that one was pretty good.
Redive?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Redive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you have high expectations for this show? Do you think
Not-
he'll get a powered up form?
I mean, he's definitely going to get upgrades. I don't know if he's going to get like
IBO style upgrades or like one upgrade? Full armor upgrade.
I don't know. I feel because the main character is like a tinkerer, right? Like he likes building.
Yeah, like Astray.
Yeah.
A straight, super cool. I like that series.
So I feel like he's going to get progressive upgrades. I don't think
Right.
he's going to get like some big like, yeah, this is my complete form. I think it's going to be like a progressive kind of thing, which is sort of interesting. But yeah, I don't think he's going to become gold by the end of this series. But yeah, I mean, just from these couple episodes, I feel like this is probably on better ground than Iron Blooded Orphans was. But like, it could still go south. It helps that again, it's not treating itself like this gritty, real, war torn Japan. It's just like, yeah, Japan is occupied and people are being oppressed, but it's not like, it's still got a fucking like bouncing mascots that are screaming, right? Like, it's a bit more lighter in tone. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Since when is Japan not oppressed?
All right. Thank you, Toast. Anyways,
You see Genshin Impact? That's a Chinese game.
That's true.
Right.
They're taking their fucking media and mediums.
All right. Anyways, we do have to stop for now. So thank you, Nier, for covering AMAIM Warriors at the Boundary, also known as Kyoukai Senki. And with that, let's quickly go over to our news segment here. Just a couple pieces of news. Again, these days we are not covering people person news, unfortunately. So we'll just have some quick company business related news to go over. First on the list, anime planning and production company Twin Engine, who helped with production for Vinland Saga, Dororo, and Pet, announced on Friday that it is establishing 2 new anime studios, Bug Film and Scooter Films. Hiroaki Kojima, who did stuff like Mix, Major Second, and so on, will be the representative director of Big Firm, and Takuro Harada will be the representative director of Scooter Films. So this is again, the studios will be part of the EOTA, engine of the animation studio team. So this bunch of studio teams is some of the stuff that you've seen in Star Wars Visions, but it's like again, along with Bug Film and Scooter Films, it includes Kafka Films, Pecky's Films, Kafka Studio, Pecky Studios, Daisy Studios, Colorado Studios. Again, you saw them in Star Wars Visions. Gano Studios, you saw them as well. Yamahisuji, Yamahisuji, stuff like that. So a lot of smaller studios that are kind of jumbled up together and helped sponsor by production companies such as Twin Engine. So yeah, watch out for that. Next piece of news is Toei Animation announced on Tuesday that it's forming a business partnership with South Korean film company CJ Entertainment to plan and produce live-action and animated content aimed at the global market, particularly in Southeast Asia, North America, and Europe. The companies plan to start releasing works together in 2024. So this is actually huge because Toei Animation, I don't think I need to explain how big they are in Japan in terms of creating like general anime
Never
for
heard
the
of 'em.
audience. Yeah, I never heard of them. So yeah, Toei Animation is there, and CJ Entertainment, for those who don't know, is essentially the biggest. Oh my god, it's so late in the night. I fucking went full Asian there. It's like essentially the biggest entertainment company in terms of like creating movies, dramas, whatever, right? Of media-based entertainment in South Korea. Period. They are the biggest company. So them coming together with Toei Animation means big things, and it's not just the small stuff that we kind of saw in Star Wars Visions, for example, where yes, Disney itself is big, but they're essentially kind of throwing crumbs or like making just like a bunch of like B tier studios do stuff, right? Or smaller stuff such as I want to say Thunderbolt Fantasy, where obviously it had big names, but the overall studios, the Japanese Chinese hybrid studios, were relatively small, right? No, this is big. This is one of the biggest, if not probably the biggest animation related studio in Japan, collaborating with the biggest entertainment studio or entertainment based company in South Korea, period. So you guys, like if they actually pool their money properly and actually produce, works properly, you guys are gonna see some shit in 2024. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Next piece of news. For the aspiring anime writer and illustrators hopefuls out there, director Kishi Seiji posted on Twitter on Saturday that he is recruiting an original character designer for his new original anime project with scriptwriter Uezu Makoto. The job position is open to both professional and amateur artists, regardless of age. Kishi specifically added that overseas artists are welcome to apply. Applicants must send 1 or 2 pieces of art in JPEG format to this email, kikuilist2021 at gmail.com email address by October 20th. The staff will contact the winning applicant by email by the end of the year. So again, the Kishi and Uezu, the director and the scriptwriter, have collaborated on several anime, including Arpeggio of Blue Steel, Assassination Classroom, Carnival Phantasm, Danganronpa the animation, uh, Fate Prototype, Humanity Has Declined, Kami-sama Dolls, Yuki Yuna is a Hero, like a lot of My Bride is a Mermaid, like a lot of very well-known series. So So, for those of you who are kind of looking out for, maybe want to chip in your hat, throw your hat in the ring, go on ahead. Kishi also added that applicants do not even need to know Japanese. He assured a person who was worried about animators' low compensation that this position is a proper job. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that he's going to pay
Man,
them 2
Deep
cookies.
L.
instead.
the fact
Yeah.
that you have to say that right now is like, holy shit. Don't
They're
worry,
gonna.
you will
He's gonna.
actually be paid.
Don't worry, you'll get 2 chocolate chip cookies.
Wow.
Shit.
That's
Uh,
triple the normal, right?
yeah. Talking about money, Japanese business publication Tokyo Keizai reported on Friday that merchandising, including food products and toys, so this is all like, again, merchandise related, like apparel, whatever, stuff like that, that is sold under the Demon Slayer franchise licensing name or brand name. For the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba franchise, all the merchandising is in the 900 billion yen range, which is about US $7.9 billion. This is overall, Kotoge Koyoharu's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga made about 10 billion yen in 2019 and about 44 billion yen in 2020 alone. So, yeah, I mean, fucking Christ, man. Like, just, I mean, again, I said this before the podcast, but I do think this is more of the effect of the globalization of anime rather than, Demon Slayer specifically being like some sort of masterpiece, right?
No.
But, oh, yeah, I apologize. Demon Slayer is also a masterpiece. I apologize.
Yeah.
But, but I also think that regardless of the increasing globalization and like, viral hits that may come afterwards, it's going to be very hard to top this. It's just the amount of money this thing is making is staggering. It is insanity. Jesus Christ.
I think it needs more.
Yeah, that's true.
My bet is on that French studio that helped with Pop Team Epic.
Next piece of news. Toei Animation announced on Wednesday a new idol titled Share Doll. And it will Shara Share Doll. Right? It is Share Doll, or is it Shadow Doll? It will release a pilot film on YouTube on October 25th. Toei Animation's new intellectual property research team, Peros, or prototyping and experimental research in Oizumi Studio, and young producers of Sotsu are producing the pilot project together. So this is about like idols that like bloom in the Neo-Edo kind of period. So it's like a very, very like Japan smelling, very Japan appeal kind of stuff. But the point is, the characters' names of voice actors have not yet been decided. More details about the world and characters will be revealed on the project's official Twitter account. The staff will also consider fan reaction as it moves forward. So this is getting into what the project is more focusing on. The project is being developed with the following in mind: changes in media and distribution spread via the internet, the need for human resources development for young producers who will lead the next generation, and the need for small starts and co-creation with fans and original IP. So complex sentencing aside, they're essentially saying like they're looking for new fucking newbies to squeeze in terms of the turning them into producers and then working them to the bone for like $35,000 a year. And they're also crowdsourcing a lot of the ideas to the fans, so they don't really have to think about it. So welcome to new ideas in the anime industry.
Woo! I think we're here. I
Yes.
think we're now getting further and further into Toast's dark future.
Yeah,
that he
pretty
had
much.
suggested.
Yeah. And then last
Which one?
but not
Which
Of,
one? I
like-
forgot.
like fucking weird crowdsourced like fucking anime.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Nice.
And last but not least, Disney is kind of moving forward a little bit more on the anime market. The Walt Disney Company announced during its APAC Content Showcase on Thursday that it will stream the Tatami Time Machine Blues, Blackrock Shooter Dawnfall, and Summertime Rendering anime worldwide. The company's Disney Plus service will exclusively stream these anime in Japan, but Disney did not specify which venue or venues will offer these titles outside of Japan. So, and then there's stuff also like the official Japanese Twitter account for the Disney Plus subscription service announced on Thursday the Disney Twisted Wonderland smartphone game is inspiring an anime adaptation project, and so on and so forth. So, it honestly, this along with Star Wars Visions, I'm surprised that honestly Disney didn't make moves earlier towards anime. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I mean, I'm kind of not, because like Plus
what do you?
Plus is really like grown and blown up. So I feel like what they
Well, I
wanted to
meant
do,
just like even with Disney in general, I would think just like
yeah,
funding more
but
because
I mean,
Disney
it's
is
just
so popular as like a general friend. Like is like you know about like one
well,
of
I mean, they did.
like
It's
pretty
called
much
Kingdom Hearts.
yeah, kind of hard. But
That was their branch.
yeah, it's like some of the most like two of the most popular Disneylands, for example, right? Just as like one off, um, are in Japan. I believe it is like the Osaka, somewhere in Osaka, and like obviously somewhere in Tokyo, right? The but their Disney is like extremely popular in Japan, and I was like, I saw this and I was surprised. I was like, wait a minute, Disney is like already super popular in Japan. Like, why didn't they just? I feel like they should have made moves earlier, but I mean, they're just making waves, like bigger waves now, and I just thought it was a little bit surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think whoever like whatever changeover and shit had been happening for them to like, especially of
Hmm.
executives, them to have been doing what they did with Disney Plus and like greenlighting shit like The Mandalorian.
Hmm.
I think it'd probably like either open their eyes to it or just whatever like executives are there that are allowing it are very much in touch with essentially like
Or maybe they're
what
also
they
eyeing
need to
like
be doing. Like,
Netflix,
yeah, because like,
Netflix
well,
as
because it's
competitor.
like, success of Netflix, and then it's like, well, we're popular in Japan. We can
Right,
fucking,
exactly.
we have connections. We can do this shit
Right,
and
exactly.
kind of go from there. Now that you have a very established streaming service because of like shit like The
Yeah,
Mandalorian and whatnot. So
yeah. Yeah, I hope they make more waves in the future. It's going to be pretty interesting going on from here forward. And with that, that is all the news we had for today. And with that, we are going to move on to our last section. Sorry, it took a little bit of a while. We are finally on to our shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here, including again our lovely member Toast, who is back with us, is getting one shout out and one call out each. Shout out is one thing that you want to praise to the heavens, give 5 out of 5 stars, rave reviews on Yelp, whatever, praise it to the skies. And can be any one person, place, or thing. And obviously, call out is the exact opposite. It's something that you want to give 0 out of stars, rant about, rage over, stomp your feet, and can be again any one person, place, or thing. And I will start off real quickly. Shout outs again to Asperu Kanajo, or Asperger's Kanajo, or Asperger's girlfriend, or whatever, autistic girlfriend. That manga was really good. It really summarized, obviously, the realistic interactions well. Again, the author, I believe, alludes to himself being on the spectrum, but it just covers it
has it
really well.
ended?
And I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So I
Um,
saw it like I finished volume 2, and then I saw that there was volume 3. I don't know if it like has ended or not.
yeah, I
Just
have to
that.
check,
I
but
don't
I'm
know if
not
it was like a
sure.
shorter one or what.
But it is just the whole like interaction and the pacing and the level of awkwardness is just like it's just all like very it's all there. It's not it's so very organic. It's obviously organic because it's like based off all of the experience, but it's like it's been a while since I've had that sort of like shit. Like this is how actual people should be portrayed in a manga, to delve into this kind of subject. Yeah, that was good. My call out
Okay,
is
it looks like, by the way, it is finished.
oh
12
okay.
volumes. So
How
a
many
lot more to
volumes?
go. 12, 100 chapters.
Oh, okay, okay. At least there's
Quite a
good
bit.
a good
Quite a
amount of
lot.
material. Yeah, yeah. And my call out is to fucking Bandai Namco for doing their stupid fucking Idolmaster shit again. Because recently Idolmaster Starlet season released and it's been region locked in the West because Banco is being fucking retarded as per usual, although they could make a lot of money by just releasing it, even just, if they just resolve the fucking whatever it is they're afraid of, whether it's the voice actors and the music rights or whether it's the law shit or whatever it is, right? So just get that shit resolved, put Idolmaster in the West, and apparently, it's not just Banco trying to fuck just the West. They're just trying to fuck everybody, apparently, because in Japan, this thing is getting sold for way more money. Like, the price is way higher compared to the other regions. So it's just, like, Banco's trying to fuck, like, chop everybody's dicks off right now. So fuck those guys. Anyways, Nier. Shout us call us, please.
Well, first, you skipped over the most important news.
Oh, what do you mean?
The return of BlackRock Shooter.
I didn't want. I blotted out my memory of watching the first Black Rock Shooter many many years
Yeah,
ago. So
fuck you.
the only thing that's left in my head is that one scene where the green girl went crazy and started smashing herself with her pillow or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene?
Yes, fucking epic. Yeah.
So- anyways,
Yeah.
yes. To shout us calls.
Shit. Fucking, I'm going to call out, I'm gonna call it Mercury Steam, who
Uh-huh.
are the developers for Metroid Dread. Um, uh, a recent story has come out. And basically, Mercury Steam, they had a couple allegations of not crediting uh, the developers in the
Mhm.
credits, right? And Mercury Steam came out and was just like, yep, we don't credit them. If they worked for less than 25% of the dev time, which I believe in Metroid Dread's case is something like 8 months of work, you just don't get credited. You don't get your name in the credits. You just simply are not credited for your work at all, which is disgusting. That is pretty fucking rancid practice. Um, and the fact that I've seen a lot of people online just be like, "What's the issue?" I think is really gross. Um,
Yeah, considering technically you could probably say you could cut the entire QA team. Like,
yeah,
just be like, yeah, we don't have to credit them because it's like
yeah.
there's
It,
plenty of shit that isn't a full fucking like. Was the full dev time? No, the full dev time wasn't 8 months, right? Like it was 25% would be considered 8 months.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
8 months was the cutoff. 25%
Yeah,
of the dev.
which is a lot for some
That's a lot
positions
of
and
work.
not
Like,
what is going to be for a majority of things, honestly. Like a
yeah,
majority of people that work on a game, especially if it's like anything that's outsourced further.
yeah. It's just really gross. And I find it really disappointing that I've seen takes like, yeah, like it kind of sucks, but it's one of like the least offensive things that like a developer could do. When it's like, it's actually really one of like the worst things a developer could do outside of just like straight up not paying employees. Like, you're literally not crediting the people that have worked on the game. Like, I don't know how you could see that and be like, yeah, I don't see the issue. Like, I don't know. It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
As for shoutouts, um, I don't know. Shoutouts to Final Fantasy 14. Because it recently had the media tour stuff for the new expansion. The embargo recently lifted,
Mhm.
and we've been seeing a lot of news come out for the expansion, and it looks fun. And pretty much everybody that got invited to the media tour got it to interview Yoshi P himself, and it was just really cool to see like how like informal like Yoshi P is in the interviews. Because like a lot of dev interviews that you'll see for stuff like media tours, um, they'll be like very hand-picked, like crafted questions. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can only ask about like this, or you can only ask about this aspect or this aspect. You can't ask me about these kinds of things. But like Yoshi P, it's just like, yeah, you can ask me about anything. It doesn't even have to be about the game. If you want, you can just interview me about whatever. And it's like that's pretty cool. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, the Final Fantasy 14 team is very, very, very cool. But yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Nier. Dark.
I'm gonna shout out. I'm gonna shout out Metroid Dread because it's a really good game, and it plays really well in 4K. So do that. Do yourself a favor. Just fucking emulate it. Buy the game, but fucking emulate it. Uh, yeah, because I don't know how anyone with any sort of visual impairment would be playing that game on its native resolution. Because there are sections where Samus becomes like a fairly undefined blur in darkness in its native resolution. So for that to be even less defined for someone who might have like trouble seeing that, especially on like a smaller screen, if you're trying to use a handheld or something, like that resolution, the resolutions on the Switch at this point are fucking unacceptable. And it's a shame because that game is very, very good. And just literally, you know, as with every Switch game we're learning, day one at this point just plays better emulated. It's almost like, last year Nintendo should have released a 4K Switch that was $500 and competed with the current consoles. But, can't have that. Instead, we have to get an OLED because you need a little bit more color. Aliasing is very pretty when you get different shades of yellow. So, but yeah, shout out to Metroid Dread. Really good game. I'm like halfway through it on hard again. Contrary to the beliefs of David Jaffe, it actually has extremely good game design. And it's just Metroid, so it's something you have to actually get used to. Yeah, guess what? You shoot the walls, and sometimes they break. If you run into a dead end, kind of assume that the room that you're in has one. So yeah, my yeah, I think I'll keep it simple. My call out's gonna be to my call out's gonna be to those fucking um those commenters for Asuperu Kanojo. Like,
Oh, I didn't even want to mention that.
yeah, like I know we
Honestly.
touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but it's like for motherfuckers being like, why is she doing that? It's just like, yeah, there it is. If you
The
read the
fact that
story,
people,
you'll start to get why.
yeah, the fact that people like as a very like standard kind of thing, always like talk about tolerance, always talk about like sympathy, empathy, whatever, and then literally turn on to a manga where it's the core premise is it's so obvious, right? Like
Yeah, is
the
that she is
very obvious
fucking
premise.
neurologically atypical?
Yeah, she's on the spectrum, and that the author clearly made it, with the idea of kind of representing that in a realistic way, right? And kind of giving people this understanding. People are like, disgusting freaking wife freak.
Yeah,
It's like,
because this is not like that's the thing. It's like it's not like this is fucking Watamat, right? Like fucking
yeah, it's not. It's
this is like
completely different. Yeah,
she is doing things like that you would consider strange.
yeah.
That are
It's not
not
like awkward
like
cringe. It's literally supposed to be like an exploration into
yeah,
the disorder. Yeah,
yeah, of that and like how not only like how someone who is also essentially struggling in their own way and might
yeah.
have some sort of disorder as well, um, may handle that and may
Mhm.
see that, and then also essentially how people with that can sort of cope with it and try
Exactly.
and like manage on a day to day. I thought the
Yeah.
chapter with the nurse that has Asperger's was really cool. I thought that
Mhm.
was a really, really cool chapter
Yeah, that
of
was
her just
really good
like,
because it's like she connected. Yeah.
yeah, and her explaining like, you know, fucking essentially like, I had to, one of the side characters, one of the friends being like, yeah, but like you seem to handle yourself fine in like when we talk or anything like that. And she's like, yeah, that's because I studied social interactions for years. Like, I fucking
Mhm.
trained myself on how this is supposed to be.
Right.
But even then, she's like, I can't particularly manage on my own, like with
Mm.
a sort of like group scenario.
Right. Right.
Um, so I thought that stuff was really great, and I think like people fucking treating it as if it's like yeah, like this weird cringe shit of like that's so weird, like that's so fucked up because it's like the series does a very good job at having those things happen, those extremely uncomfortable situations happen, and then essentially like connecting as to like, okay, but here's why. Like here's essentially the sort of like to someone who's I don't even know what would you call like non-atypical, like just like typical, like neurologically
Yeah,
atypical or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like essentially establishing like to them like what that's like. Like I thought it's done a really good job at that. I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
And I think like even having like the little things and shit in there, like little things that happen that like set her off, or like even like larger things, and like explaining like what sort of yeah, like what like steps led to this sort of like scenario. So you know,
Mhm.
um, it's a really really good fucking series, and people commenting on it, uh, that it's like this is fucking weird, or like this person's fucked up, or whatever is like it's just annoying in so many ways for so many reasons, especially from a fucking like anime community standpoint.
Yeah, it's especially in like the Western anime community because they're always how they're always like bitching about why don't we get more series with like different types of people and like different representations and blah 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 like whatever, right? And then we get one and
Yeah, and then the
immediately like
moment
people are
that a
just yeah.
female protagonist is like has like a fucking neurological disorder, like now it's no, actually there's a problem.
Yeah, it's like sorry, you don't want
She's not
those
behaving
people.
the
Yeah.
way that I would like her to.
Yeah.
Um,
I want a faker, autistic person. It's like,
yeah, it's
like
like
maybe.
it's like you either want it's like they either want like someone who's just fucking emotionally aloof,
Yeah,
or they want someone who's essentially behaves this way but with zero justification, zero explanation, and is a fucking villain. Like
right, exactly.
it's very blatant
Yeah,
at this point. It's like, come on. Like,
yeah,
it's like, or we could have a really, really fucking enjoyable series that shows these things in a pretty good light. So,
yeah. Anyways, thank you, Dark. And last but not least, Toast. Shoutouts, callouts, please.
My shout out.
Yes.
Let's shout out cold weather. I like cold weather. Good.
I can be with that. Yeah, I can jive with that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll shout out the crisp autumn air. Good stuff.
Good for the soul. Good for the health. And your call out.
Call out. I'm gonna call out this. I'm gonna call out this dog bite on my hand. Oh boy,
Oh,
that's
that's
fun.
unfortunate. Okay.
I sure love seeing my own insides on my hand.
I hope
I, I
I hope
don't
it
I,
does.
I don't mind seeing other people's insides, but show me mine, it's like ugh, no thanks.
I hope it does heals
I,
recovers.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's been a week, closed up. It's fine, whatever.
Mm. Not getting the infection is the important part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Well, if that's it, then we are finished. Finally, I apologize for the tangents all over the place. It was a longer stream than I had expected, but perhaps having this long stream was a good thing, both for coming into or exploding into the fall season and for welcoming back Toast again. We are very lucky to have him back with us once more. So yeah, next we're just gonna be barreling right in for the next couple of episodes, just covering what we need to do. Hopefully, covering all the big series that people are kind of going to be talking about, obviously. And if you guys do have any suggestions, just hit us up on our social media. And if you do like what we do, we stream our live recording of the podcast every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the numeral 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So check us out here. We have our highlights of the podcast recording here, as well as on YouTube, so you can check out whichever format you please, as well as updates and information on our social media on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast. That's our handle, and Facebook 4PlayAnimecast. Again, with a numeral 4. So check us out here, check us out there, and we'll see you next time.